pull through, I can tell you. Just as the storm did not shake Jesus, we are invited to rest in his presence, knowing he's always there with us. Jesus was able to rest in the storm because he trusted in God's presence, in his Father's presence, not the absence of danger, but he rests in the presence of his Father. His presence with the disciples in the boat provide peace they needed. And it is the same for us today, my friends. In our personal storms, whether relationship, work, whatever it may be, true peace comes not from escaping the issue, but recognizing that we serve a mighty God who is in control, who can turn any situation around. Sometimes I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this before. You are in a situation, and when you see how God take you out, you wonder how you come out. We need to leave everything to Jesus, and he will take us through. We can experience rest by trusting in God's presence, even in our struggles. And the second point I want to close with is Jesus' authority over life's challenges. Some of us feel as if we are in control and we have the authority over everything. But let me remind us, God has the authority. No matter what, he has the final words. God's authority over life's challenges. In verse 25, the disciples, fearing for their lives, wake Jesus up. Lord, save us. In other words, do something. We are perishing. We are in danger. Their reaction is natural. They are panicking because the storm feels uncontrollable. Jesus responds not by rebuking the storm. You realize immediately he addressed their lack of faith. And a lot of times why we struggle is because of our lack of faith. We don't give things over to Jesus and trust in him. He said, why are you afraid? Oh, you of little faith. At this moment, Jesus isn't just asking about the storm, but about their trust in him. Jesus' question cuts to the heart of our anxiety. Why are you afraid? Do you not know that I am in control? The storm seems powerful, but it is not more powerful than the one who creates the wind and the waves. Jesus' rebuke caused the disciples and us today to trust in his supreme authority and rest in the knowledge that he is always in control, even when life's challenges seems overwhelming. No matter how fierce the situation is, we can have confidence that God's sovereignty remains unshaken. As we anchor our faith in his control, we can find peace, knowing he can calm the storms in our lives. Nurses, doctors, and everybody else, including myself, do we rest in God's sovereignty when challenging times arises? When you have your mop up to do and the hair are done. I know some of it, because my twin sister chat a lot to me, So I will know a little. When she said, Lord, me have this for do, me have that for do, and the time. Do we trust in Christ that all will be well? Are we trusting that God is in control even when things seem out of control? The disciples needed to realize that the storm wasn't the final word. God had the final word. Jesus was able to rest during the storm because he knew his Father was sovereign over all things. And we too need to rest because we know we serve a mighty God who is capable of taking control of all our situations. Am I lying? Talk to me, man. Am I lying? Oh, we serve a mighty God. Jesus knew nothing happened outside of God's will. Not what we face, I'm not of God's will. And if he put me in it, he will find one way to take you out there. I remember in the Great Commission there, in Matthew 28, in the latter verse, the last verse there, where he says, he will be with us. Always. So remember that. Sometimes we are caught up in overwhelming situations, forgetting that God's sovereignty extends to even the most chaotic situations. Let us stop focusing on our situations and focus on God. Put it in the hands of God. My friends, rest comes when we surrender our affairs to God's sovereign power, trusting He is with us and will take us through. Christ reminds us in the Great Commission, as I said before, I am with you always to the end of the ages. Therefore, He is there in our problems. And sometimes Christ has to put me in some position to make we realize and remember Him. We have to look at it that way too. Rest is not about avoiding the situation, but about trusting in the one who holds the storm in His hands. In moments of chaos, all my dear friends, may we find rest. Today, rest. Rest in God, knowing that He's in control, no matter the situation you face. Just give it to Jesus and let Him take care of the rest. Let us pray. Father, we thank You that we can find rest in You even amid life storms. Help us recognize Your presence with us. Trust in Your sovereignty over all things and experience the peace that only You can give. When the waves of life threaten to overwhelm us, remind us, dear God, that with You, You will take us through. Remind us that You are with us and that in You we can find rest amid life challenges. Lord, help us today. Lord, take the full control of this capacity building session today. And Lord God, I pray that You will bless each and every one here and their families. And Lord God, I pray that You will help them, that they will leave with something, oh God, something to help them. In Your name I pray, through Your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. God is good. And all the time? Amen.
Receive the benediction. And now may the saving grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the love of God, the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, rest, remain, and abide with us all, now and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you.
All right, thank you so much, Reverend Shireen and Karine Williams. Give them a round of applause. Those were words of inspiration to set the pace for today's proceedings. At this time, I would like to ask Miss Elaine Lindsay to come to the podium and extend welcome.
Morning, everyone. Good morning, fellow colleagues. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the last bi-monthly Public Health Nurses Interest Group meeting for the year 2024. Today's session, which includes capacity building, promises to be jam-packed with vital and relevant information. Not only do we welcome you, but we also appreciate all the effort, planning, and sacrifices it would have taken for you to all be here today, especially with our current inclement weather conditions. Take a few minutes to climatize yourself to your current location, which is the fabulous and exquisite parish of St. Anne, which is part of the North East Regional Health Authority. The other parts of the puzzle are Portland and St. Mary. The population of Nera is approximately 356,000 and constitutes 13.8% of the general population. It has a geographical area of 118 square miles. Nera is the smallest of the health regions in Jamaica and has a care delivery network formed by 73 health centers, 4 general hospitals, and 2 community hospitals. There are approximately 1,400 health and administrative workers. If you are ever looking for a special getaway, a place to relax and charge up your batteries, then look no further than the Northeast. Our hotels are known the world over for their beautiful locations and excellent service. The food is second to none. There are several heritage sites to explore, including Ocho Rios Fort, Bellevue Great House, Cardiff Hall, and Roaring River Great Houses, to name but a few. The Northeast is also famous for being an ideal location for filmmakers looking for an idyllic and heavenly background and environment for their movies. One of the most recently filmed movies was the 2021 James Bond film, No Time to Die. Previous epics include Lord of the Flies, Night and Day, The Mighty Quinn, Club Paradise, Clara's Heart, Lonely Planet, Shattered Images, and I could go on and on. Closer to home, the movie making continues, as you can find a video titled The Importance of Antenatal Care, Angela's Story, which features Nera's team members playing the roles of the client and practitioners in this original, true-life, educational video. This project was the brainchild of our very own regional nurse, Mrs. Spencer DeKidd. Please feel at home here, and if there's anything you need or desire, then don't hesitate to ask any of us in the Nera team. Welcome one of all, and have an awesome day.
Thank you so much. Now I note that our time is not keeping with us, but there won't be any delay in moving ahead to our first presentation, which I hope you'll see illustrated on your agenda. So I'm going to ask Senior Public Health Nurse Yvonne Lodge-Smith to introduce our very special guest.
A very good morning to all my colleagues from the North, East, West, and South. Happy to have you here in St. Anne with us. Kudos to our host, Team Portland. Now it is my pleasure, and it is indeed an honor for me to present to you this morning our first speaker for the day, a dynamic, stalwart, honorary nurse by association, a man full of wisdom, strength, and humility, former senior surgical resident at the Sentence Bay Hospital, and he is currently, let me remind myself in a little bit, a medical doctor, yes, by profession, and also an attorney at law, and is currently working out of the principal's office at the on campus. So his main area of interest currently is actually nuclear law. That is kind of strange, I don't recall hearing, but anyhow, please receive today Dr. Peter Glegg and give him your full attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you also for the invitation to be here. When I was called by Madame, my first response was yes, and is always yes to the Northeast Regional Health Authority. I think my job is already done by the twins this morning, because they've pretty much touched on what I wanted to speak about this morning. And I must say that I've known the twins since almost 24 or 25 years now. That's how long I've known them. Since I was an intern, I've known them, and they were young nurses. So it's like a reunion here this morning. I want to just follow onto their presentation this morning, because it's perfectly in line with what I want to talk about. And there's a song that we used to sing. I don't know if you know the song. With Christ in the vessel, we can smile at the storm, smile at the storm, smile at the storm. With Christ in the vessel, we can smile at the storm as we go sailing on. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today, that no matter what the storm is, you know that with Christ in the vessel, we can definitely smile at the storm. I want to start by just sharing some experiences that I've had over recent years, just to drive home a certain point. So the first one is I'm from Runaway Bay originally, and I was driving from Runaway Bay up through Brownstown, Caverly, Spaldings to go to Maniville. One of my patients that I used to take care of, somewhere around Anian Town, flagged me down. I don't know how you recognize me. It was a Sunday, late Sunday morning around this time. And the man almost come out in front of the car, flagged me down, "Doc!" So I stopped, pull over, and he said, "What you doing here?" I said, "Passing through." And so I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Man, this is my little field." And he had a field at the side of the road where he was planting yams. And for those of you who know about yam planting, when you plant the vine and it reaches a certain stage, then you have to put it on sticks. Jamaica people say time for the yam tick, or I don't know what's the right terminology you're saying. Part about it, I don't say the yam a tick, right? You have to put the yam on the sticks now. That was what he was doing. So I went over because I have an interest in farming, and I observed him doing his stuff. And then I noticed there's a pot on the fire, 2 pots on the fire cooking. So I said, "Why you having a pot?" He said, "This is poor people food, Doc. You know what? None of this here." So I'm like, I'm not one to usually eat on the road. But I said, "Tell me what's in the pot." He said, "I cook white yam and saltfish." I'm like, poor people food? This is what Mr. Matalan eat for his breakfast on a Sunday morning. So I said, "Give me some, man." And he shared out, and it wasn't a lot, so he shared out some of the yam. It was a nice soft white yam and some nice saltfish. And it was no big thing, just piece of tomato and piece of onion, but cook up nice. I ended up eating off all the man food, because I went back for seconds, and seconds mean I finish him food. And I felt so guilty about it. I said, "Sir, I feel so bad about eating off your food. See our money here." And I gave him a $5,000 bill, and he was over the top of the world. So I said, "So where you going to buy with this?" He said, "I go buy KFC." I don't understand that, because that piece of white yam is one of those meals. You know, you eat a meal and you never forget that meal. That was a meal that I will never forget. And yes, he thought that it was poor people food. And it was probably below me to want to eat that. I want you to notice that point. The other point is, when I was growing up, I grew up in St. Anne's. As I said, my father worked at the Bauxite Company. And we weren't wealthy, but because the Bauxite Company had a fringe benefit that their children, Kaiser actually paid for my education up until I was 25. I went to school free, right? And so I used to go to a prep school in Brownstown called Servite Convent Prep. I think it's now a primary school. In those days, in the 70s, I don't want to give up my age, but in those days, it was a very, very strict Catholic school. All the teachers, or most of the teachers, were nuns. It was a very prominent prep school. In fact, I remember my days going to Servite Convent Prep. Me and my siblings were some of the few black people who were in the entire school in those days. It was mostly white kids and Syrians and Chinese. And when Servite closed down, my poor mom decided that she's trying to get me to Columbus, but there was a snag. And so I had to spend either half of a term or a term at Runaway Bay All-Age School because it was close by. Now, this was a culture shock for me because I went to Hillcrest Prep, then Servite Prep, then I ended up in a public primary institution. For me, it was a culture shock. My first day at school, thinking like I'm at Servite, brought my books, leave my books, everything on the desk, went for lunch, came back, they were all gone. So, of course, I went around and took up books and pencils and everything and filled back my bag to go home. So that was the first time I ever stole anything in my life. But one of the things that struck me about this was that a lot of the kids in the school in those days came to school barefooted. But although they were barefooted, and I'd never seen this before, I mean, I used to walk barefoot around my yard, but to go to school, them shine down their foot, look like them rub coconut oil on it, you know. And them foot shine and clean going to school, to the extent that after about the first week, I started taking off my shoes at school and walking home in the evenings barefoot. Especially if rain fall and you walk in the water as it runs down the main road. All right? I want to give a third experience. While as resident in surgery at St. Anne's Bay, Anato Bay Hospital was short-staffed. Anybody from Anato Bay, by the way? They were short-staffed, and they had to send surgeons from St. Anne's Bay, because the same northeast region, to work at Anato Bay Hospital. And I was like, upset. Because like, why are they sending me to this little beanie hospital with one ward have all 5 patients on it? I'm not accustomed to that. I'm accustomed to gunshot wounds, stab wounds, running to theater, airlifting patients to KPH and excitement. But when I went to Anato Bay, the first thing I learned, and I find that the smaller the hospital or the rougher the conditions in the hospital, the more united the people are. When I went to Anato Bay, I saw something I didn't see at St. Anne's Bay. Their operating theater team was like a little family. Everybody close. And every day on theater day, one pot cook in OT. I don't know if they still do it now. And everybody from the consultant to the porter, nurse, doctor, intern, everybody eat out of that one pot. I'd never seen that anywhere. And I say all of this to say that sometimes we are faced with certain circumstances in life. Sometimes we are faced with certain situations and we think that we are the worst off. We think that the food that we're eating is poor people food. We think that the environment in which we work is just the worst and the most disgusting environment you can think of. On my way down, I'm doing some legal work for a nurse colleague of mine who lives out in the Midwest in the States. And I was talking to her and she just sounded off because I'm finishing up some legal business for her. And I said, oh, you don't sound like your usual self. What, nurse? She said, boy, she thinks she might lose her job So I mean, what do you mean by lose your job? She said, well, 6 feet of snow fell last night. She can't even see her car. And she called work, and her boss is telling her, said, listen, if you don't reach work by how much o'clock, don't come back. Sometimes we in Jamaica, and I know everybody in this room, you're here today not because you have to be here. Because right now, every single one of you can get a job in the States, England, Cayman, within a week or two, or a few months. Because that's how they're taking away nurses now. I went on a flight to Atlanta recently, and there were 10 nurses on that flight that I knew. 10 nurses leaving Jamaica one time. 5 of them were from the university hospital. So I know you're here today because you love this country, or maybe you love someone in this country that you don't want to leave. But when we look at it, we may say we work under such terrible conditions. We don't have this, we don't have that, we need this, they expect us to do this, they expect us to carry water in a straw basket. But guess what? In Jamaica, if rain fall more than an hour, everything shut down, not true? And you hear, because of the inclement weather, this has been canceled, or school is shut down. While my colleague in the States is now having to make a decision. How is she going to get 6 feet of snow off her car and make it to work in a certain time? Or is she going to lose her job? And she can't afford to lose her job. She has people in Jamaica depending on her to send back money, right? Now, I say all of this to say that sometimes strength and leadership have a lot to do with not what life throws us, but how we deal with the circumstances and the situation that life gives to us. And that is the path of a leader. And my experience is, I always use my experience as an example, because I grew up as a poor cousin in my family. But you know what? All of the rich people in my family, them are happy. I'm happy with what I have, and I'm happy with what life has given me. And it has not been easy. The struggles has been rough. And you know how Jamaica see, as you try and make something out of yourself, you start get fight against, right? People start pulling you down. People start undermining you and digging the floor away from you, right? But that's not something to complain about. That's good. When people say bad things about you, that's good. How many people sit down on the veranda and discuss the madman on the street in front of KFC? No. People talk about important people. Right? So when people say bad things about me, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Because what it means is that I make sense, or I am considered to be important by someone. So I want to start off this morning now to ask you just to think in your mind. Think of what your age is in your mind, whatever the age is, you're 35, 25, 45. And go back 5 years ago. Are you at the position today that you imagined that you would have been 5 years ago? Have you achieved what you thought you would have achieved, whether professionally, financially, relationship, or otherwise, 5 years ago? And if the answer is no, well, one, don't despair, but two, you're going to have to look back at what is called strategy. I learned early in university that it's not bright people get A. It's not the bright people who do well, even throughout med school and law school. I knew many very brilliant people who were just average performers. What I found out that the people who performed the best and achieved the most were the people who had a strategy. Now, if you're bright on top of it, that's even fine. I want to talk to you today about the strategy of life, the strategy of living life. I don't know if you want to put it in your phone or write it down, but I always like to share my secrets with people. I want you to know the name of these 3 books. You can put it in your phone. You can read it later when you get a chance. The first book I want to share with you is one of the secrets to my success, and it's a book called Unlimited Power. It's written by a man called Tony Robbins or Anthony Robbins, Unlimited Power. My mom used to work with a rich Jewish man in the States, and he actually sent me to do a course by Tony Robbins. And halfway through the course, he said, by the way, your graduation is going to be, you're going to have to walk about from here to that bench, 20 feet over burning charcoals. Not around it, over it, to collect your certificate. So I said, all right, that's enough for me. I'm out. Because from my memory as a kid, when you have that coal stove outside and you walk past it barefoot and step on one little piece of and how that thing burn hot, and I have to walk across a bed of that, why? I'm not mad, but he insisted that at the end of the course, you'll have to walk across that to collect your certificate. So I said, all right, quit, enough, goodbye, I'm going back home. Of course, my mother called me and traced me off and said, you started, the man pay a whole lot of money to do the course, finish it. This guy, by the way, when you read about Tony Robbins, he's used by presidents. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Fortune 500 companies use him. All the top NFL, NBA teams use him. The US military use him. All those special forces soldiers, they use him. And I want you to, that's one book I want to share with you. The other book I want to share with you is a book called The Art of War. You ever heard about that book before? It's by a man called, it's an old book, maybe 2,000 years old or more, by a man called Sun, S-U-N-T-Z-U. And his approach to life is he treats life as you would treat war. The strategies of war. Things about knowing yourself. What are your strengths and your weaknesses? Knowing your enemies or your adversaries. What are their strengths and weaknesses? How do you use information? All right? Now, what's the weird thing about Sun Tzu, and for any of you who have ever done martial arts before, is that you realize that when you do martial arts, though they teach you how to fight, they tell you that if you end up having to fight, you've lost, which I find weird. And in the same way, the art of war teaches you how to fight and win wars, but they say if you have to eventually fight a war, it means that you have lost, because what it's saying is that you must use strategy to achieve your objectives without having to lift a finger to fight. And the last book I want to tell you about is a book from a Japanese book called The Book of Five Rings. The Book of Five Rings, like rings that you put on your finger. You see, I like to share my secrets, because these are the things that guided me. Yesterday I was, the university asked me to give a presentation to their member staff on, my approach to where I am in life. And I told them that I went to law school at age 39, competing with kids 18, 19 years old. At the time, I was a resident in surgery at St. Anne's Bay and had responsibilities. And let me tell you, when I started law school, my hair was black. And after the last, I remember after my last exam, and just as what Twin said a while ago, that sometimes you complete something and when you look back, you don't know how you did it. When I did my last law exam, I went into the mirror and I did not recognize the person looking out at me because I saw a white-haired man. And when I thought back about the previous 5 years, I don't know how I did it. Because I started off without the money to pay the tuition, 10,000 US a year. I started off with no support from a lot of people. But guess what? With Christ in the vessel, I smiled at the storm and I completed. Many people start many things in life without completing, but no matter what, every time I know somebody who goes off to do a course, the only advice I always give to them is, whatever you do, whatever happens, and the devil is very strong, because it's whenever you start to do some special course or some special project that everything that can go wrong in your life will go wrong. And no matter what happens, you have to finish. Let's talk about the strategy of life. And I'm going to use the example of this bench right here. Now look at this bench in front of me. Now, as you know, Christ, I think his father was a carpenter, and he may have, as in those days, when you grew up in a home, whatever trade your father did, more than likely you would have to learn the trade of your father as well. So I think it's fair to say that Christ more than likely had some or significant skills as a carpenter. And I think him being born a carpenter as compared to him born a farmer or a painter or a horse race jockey or something, I think it's significant. I want to use a very simple process to look at your strategy in life, ladies. Now, to make this bench, let us look at what the carpenter needs to do. First of all, and this bench is your life or is your future. Consider this bench to be the next 5 years of your life. So let's plan the next 5 years of your life. So when you think a while ago about the previous 5 years and where you thought you would have been today, if you're not there, don't worry. If you're there or you have surpassed all your dreams and expectations, give thanks. But let us look at the next 5 years of your future by looking at this bench. You're the carpenter, and this bench is your future. Now, what are the first things you need to do before you build this bench? The first thing you need is a plan. You can just get up one day as a carpenter and say, okay, I'm going to build something, and what are you going to build? I'm not sure, but I'm going to build something. No, you have to first have a plan. I'm going to build a bench. It's going to be 16 feet long, 2 feet across. It's going to have 3 uprights. It's going to have 2 things at the back that you lean down on, and you must have the dimensions of this bench. In the same way, folks, you cannot approach life without first having a plan. You must have a drawing in your mind of whatever it is that you hope to achieve in the next 5 years. Is it that 5 years' time you want to build a 5-bedroom house for your family? Is it that 5 years' time you want to have the latest Mercedes on the road? Is it that 5 years' time you want to be the technical director for whichever region you work? Whatever it is it that 5 years' time you want to look like Angelina Jolie? Whatever it is, the first thing you need is a plan. And a plan is important because that is what is going to give you the sense of direction. Now, one of the things that have struck me about very successful people, one of the things that struck me about very successful people is that not only do they have a plan, but they never stray from it. So, for instance, I remember as a kid, my aunt, one of my rich auntie that I grew up with, I remember Butch Stewart used to come to her house on a regular basis and sell her blenders and stoves and all of these things. Remember, Butch Stewart started out trading what? Appliances. That's where the name Appliance Traders Limited come from. So I remember when Butch Stewart used to drive a station wagon. I remember Hurry, Mr. Sinclair used to drive around Jamaica with cloth and clothes and thing in the back of a car. I remember that. So what's the difference between you and Butch Stewart? What's the difference between you and Hurry? They had a plan, right? Let me give you another quick story. There's a gentleman who was, I think at the time, about 63, 65 years old. He was pretty much at retirement age. He opened a restaurant close to a highway and decided that he took all his life savings and opened a restaurant close to a highway. And the restaurant started making business. And just as he started getting back profit from his investment, they moved the highway. And all of a sudden, there were no cars passing near his restaurant anymore. He had to shut his restaurant down. But he had figured out a way that he could prepare his chicken using 11 secret herbs and spices and fry it in a certain way. under pressure. So he put his kit in the back of his car and his frying machine and everything, and he drove around to dozens and dozens of restaurants throughout the Midwest, trying to convince restaurant owners that fry the chicken my way, give me 2% of your profit. And everybody said, no. Now, I don't know about you, but maybe after the first 5 or 10 people, I'd have probably just throw that fryer and think of something else. One of the traits that I noticed, ladies and gentlemen, about successful people in Jamaica and around the world is that whenever they have their plan, they never give up. Even if you fail one time, you failed. And I think he went to about 200 people, you know. He went to about 200 people before somebody finally said yes. Today, Colonel Harlan Saunders is the man who started KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. So at 65, he was broke and in debt, and he died in his 80s, a millionaire. His children, grandchildren can't count the money that this man made now. KFC is one of the biggest chains on the entire planet. The entire planet. And you know, if you ever drive past KFC, whether there's a Ocho Rios all on a Friday evening like this evening. Hands up those of you who has ever joined the drive-through line in KFC in the past year. How long you wait to get served? All 1 hour, not true? It would have easier you would have gone home, take out the chicken, thaw it out, and stew it or fry it or whatever, and you'd have the food ready before then for less. But guess what? KFC is nice. So I say this to you, you may have a dream in your mind. You may have a plan, but do not be dismayed when something comes and turns your plan upside down. There's this race in England, I'm not sure if you hear about it. If you go on YouTube and type in Olympics, British athlete, finish race. There's a story, and I think this guy is of Jamaican descent. He ran in this race in the Olympics, and he was supposed to be the winner because he was a favorite. I think it might have been a 400-meter race. He's out front, and when they came on the final stretch, you see him pull up like this and fall on the ground. He either broke a bone in his leg or had a major tear to a ligament. And the race continued. He was on the final stretch and the race continued. And he got up and started hopping. When you watch the video, you see a man run out of the crowd, bounce past security guards. That was his father. And his father came and said to him, "Do you want to finish?" And he said yes. And his father held him, and he hopped on one leg for the other 100 meters of that race. Let me tell you something. The entire stadium, when he crossed that line, was on their feet and in tears. To this day, nobody remembers who came first, second, or third in that race. But even the fact that I'm speaking about it today, to this day, people still remember that man. Because although he broke his leg, he got up and he finished the race on one leg. How many projects have you started that you abandoned? How many dreams you have that you say, that's above me. I can't. That's. How many dreams or how many plans you've had that you started working on it, and after 2 or 3 failures, you give up and you move on with your life. That's the plan. Let's go back to the carpenter. He's building this bench. So this bench is your future for the next 5 years. So we have a plan, and we agree that no matter what, we're going to finish. No matter what, we're finishing, right? Good. What's the next thing the carpenter has to do? The carpenter now has to get the material. You now have to take a measurement to say, I want 3 yard, and you want to determine the kind of lumber you want, whether it's hardwood, softwood, or you want it pretty, lignum vitae, blue maho, whatever you want. Right? Mahogany. You're going to have to determine the type of material you want. True? Good. How much nail you need? How much glue you need? All right? So therefore, when you're planning your things in life and you have a plan in life, you also have to look to what are the things that you need. But apart from the plan, you must make sure that you have the tools that you need. Now, do not say to yourself, well, in the States, or I see a man down the shop and him have a power saw, and all me have is one long time hand saw. Don't bad mind him, it's all right. Use what you have. You may see somebody who now has a machine and they're doing 3D printing, and they have these laser machines that can cut the wood for you, and all you have is a saw. That's fine. You use what you have. Do not stop the project because you don't have a laser printer or a 3D printing machine and you give up. No. Use the tools that you have. But more importantly, you're now going to have to decide that, yes, you have your shop, the team that work with you. And for the fact that you're all here, it means that you're all leaders in your respective areas, and you have people that work with you and people who you supervise. Now, one of the important things about a carpenter, and this is something I've learned in my position of leadership, is that you cannot lead from the rear. You cannot sit down and lock yourself in an office and lead, because things will go wrong. There's a recent case, I can't even call the name because this case is a current case. There's a big law firm in Kingston who had this contract with maybe for $1 million or $2 million US for an international firm to bid for a major contract in Jamaica. And I think this contract is related to health, the healthcare setting, whether it's to provide equipment or to provide whatever. I can't say what it is, right? But this contract is valued maybe billions of Jamaican dollars. They hired this law firm to prepare the bid based on the Jamaican requirements and submit this bid. 1 week before, the guy from the American company called the partner in the law firm and say, how is our thing going? Oh, it's well, man. It's everything. We're ready. We're good to go. We say, the deadline is a week. Sure, we know, man. We know. 2 days before, he calls the guy from the States called the partner from the firm and says, how are we? He says, good, the document has been prepared. It will now be submitted. The partner in the firm took the document and gave it to the junior attorney in the firm and say, have this taken to be submitted at the Ministry of Health. Immediately. The junior partner in the firm took it and gave it to the secretary and say, get this to the Ministry of Health right away. This is 2 days before, right? The secretary took the document and gave it to the bearer. 1 hour before the deadline, the guy from the States, the client, calls back the partner in the firm and say, today's the deadline, it's 12 o'clock to submit our proposal. And they were supposed to have gotten this big work. Him say, yeah, man, everything okay? Him say, you sure? Yeah, man, hang up. Calls the junior partner. Hey, listen, everything okay with that document? Sure it is. She calls the secretary. Everything okay with that document? Yeah, man. Where is it? I gave it to the bearer. This is now 15 minutes before the deadline. It's supposed to be handed in to the Ministry of Health in New Kingston. Call the bearer. Secretary calls the bearer. Where are you? You have the document? Yeah, man. Me soon bring it in, man. When I soon bring it in? Where are you? Maybe a Spanish town or drop off something. So he got to the Ministry of Health at about 12:30 that day. So that company lost that bid. Now, who do you blame? Who takes the ultimate blame as a leader? Is the partner in the firm? No, the question is, what's the partner going to do now? Because he just cost his company millions of dollars. His firm has now lost millions. What is he going to do? I'm going to fire the attorney, right? Have to. What's the attorney going to do? Fire the secretary, right? And probably fire the bearer as well. But who is going to feel the real lick anyway? The partner. And there's a thing in law called vicarious liability. You ever heard about that before? Or you put it in your phone somewhere. Vicarious, Vicarious, I think. Vicarious liability. And what vicarious liability says is that you as a supervisor are legally responsible for the actions of your junior, even if you told them not to do it. You write it to them, you text it to them, you put it in the chat group, you put it up on the board, you have it in your policy that they read, and they still go and do something wrong, you're going to court. That is why when I represent the university hospital, I never ever saw an intern in court. I never saw a resident in court. It's always the consultant or the CEO or the chief medical officer who goes to court. Because what vicarious liability says is, it is the boss that must take the lick whenever anything goes wrong. So just as a carpenter, back to our thing, when you have your plan, you have to make sure that you properly manage those who are on your team and working with you. Now, you can have the perfect plan in the world, you can have all the tools, you can have everything you need, but guess what? At some point in time, you're now going to have to do the work to build this bench. All right? And sometimes all of us, I'm sure you all agree, because I do too, you lay down and have these great ideas in your mind, but they stay in your mind. I remember some years ago, after I did my first degree, I went to the States and then returned to Jamaica after about a year or two. And I had this idea in my mind from I was in the States that I'm going to bottle water, but when I bottle this water, I'm going to put a hint of some sort of fruit juice in it. In my mind, the idea I had at the time was to put tangerine, because tangerine is my favorite fruit. I was going to bottle the water with tangerine in it. So it's going to be called tangerine water or tan water. Had the idea in my mind, never acted on it. And one day I go on the road and I hear a man selling cran water. I mean, I couldn't believe it. If I'd written it down somewhere, I would have sued these guys, because it was my exact plan. And let me tell you, Wisynco makes billions of dollars every year selling cran water. Did you know that Jamaica consumes per capita more cranberry juice than any other country in the world? So when you have your ideas, you now have to convert the idea from your mind into something physical and something real. Now imagine you are on this steep hill. Look at that steep hill outside there at the window, through the window. That little hillside there. If you get a giant ball and rest it on that hill and let it go, where's that ball gonna go? Downhill. That's a natural law of the universe. Things go the path of least resistance. For you to even get the ball to stay at one spot on the hill, you have to apply X amount of energy, right? For you to get the ball to go up the hill, you have to apply that energy plus more. So the fact is, you can have all the great ideas, but if you do not convert your ideas to work, friends, you will never ever achieve that which you hope to achieve. The other thing I want to share with you about the bench is that, okay, having made the bench, what do you do with it? Is it that you're going to use it in your house? Yeah, but you can't get rich off of that, not true. You're going to have to use this now to market it. You're going to have to share it to the world to get the world to want to buy your bench. Let me ask you a question. What is it that each one of you, what skill do you have that you know that you're very good at it? Maybe you bake cakes well. Maybe you cook well. Maybe you sew well. All right? Maybe when you wash your car, nobody else can. Your car is clean as a whistle. Whatever is the skill that you have or the talent that you have, this is what you're going to use as an entrepreneur and try to monetize it. So I'm here to encourage you today, ladies, to do a couple of things. One, you must have a strong desire to succeed in order to succeed. But having the desire is just one. You must have a plan and you must work with this plan. The second thing you need to be successful in whatever you do is that you must have a belief system by which you work with. You must believe that whether you call him Buddha, Allah, Jesus, God, the universal consciousness, you must believe that there's a force out there that is greater than us, that we don't understand, and that we should ascribe to. But not only should you have a belief system, but more importantly, you must believe in yourself. Because that's what Harlan Saunders had. He believed in his plan. And by the way, let me tell you, the light bulb, if you have a phone now or drive a car or is in a building, Thomas Edison tried 10,000 times before he got a successful light bulb to work. How many times? 10,000 times. I say that to you that no matter what, you can't give up. So you must have a belief system. And when I talk about belief, I remember my days, the typical Saturday night at St. Anne's Bay, 12 o'clock in the morning, and gunshot wound comes in, 5 shots in the chest, 2 in the belly, 2 in the foot. And when I run in and look, on the inside, my inside mind is like, oh God, no, all right. All right, what am I going to do now, Lord? Oh Lord. But then nurse is looking at you, resident is looking at you, intern is looking at you, say, what am I going to do now, Glegg? Inside mind is like, oh Lord, all right, all right. Outside, of course, I'm like, okay, let's put up an IV, NG tube, UCAF, take off bloods, call this, call that. So what I'm saying is, with Christ in the vessel, right? When the storm comes, don't panic. You have to use your belief system in yourself to guide you through these storms. I remember one time, I'm sorry, Sister Johnson's not here. Carmen, we had a massacre at St. Anne's Bay Hospital one day. And of course, me believing that I'm the boss, walks into A&E and starts throwing around instructions. You do that, you get that, you get that. And I walk over to Carmen, she's like, Glegg, you go and see that patient over there, and when you're finished sorting him out, you come back to me. Hear me, yes, sister? But in the same mass casualty, 5 minutes? In the same mass casualty, I see a girl screaming and she covering her face. And she's screaming, 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 screaming. There was some high school girls from Brownstown, I think, was in a school bus that crashed. And I said, Madam, okay, because sister sent me to sort her out. So I went over to the girl and said, let me see your face. She's like, no, no, she's screaming, she's screaming. And then I said, please, just calm down. Take the rag off your face, let me see. And when she pulled off the rag off her face, it's like the whole of this was chamba, chamba. Hear me, put it back, put it back. Understand, head over back to sister. Sister's like, go on and start on the patient. So, you know, when you face the storm, guys, you have to believe. It is your belief system that will get you through. But the final step to success, whether in leadership, in relationships, in whatever it is that you must put yourself in what is called the resourceful state. It means that you must do the work. How many of us have had a day that we didn't work and we get up, we watch YouTube video on our phone, we do this, and before we know it, the day finish. And then another day you wake up, you clean the yard, you wash your car, you look at gardening, you cook this, you do that, you do a million things. What's the difference between you on both those days? Or if you watch a match and Michael Jordan scores 50 today, then another day Michael Jordan scores 5. What's the difference? The only difference is up here. Because your mind is rested, because you're focused, you're able to achieve what you want. So I'm saying to you folks, I want to come back here 5 years from now. And I want you to ensure that wherever you see yourself 5 years from now, you achieve it or more. Do not be like the man who says poor people food him eating. Wherever you're working, whatever station you are in life, accept it. You can't change that. The government don't have no money. Accept that. But do what you can with what you have to achieve what you need. Let me end by giving you my own benediction to say that life is what you make it to be. Just live your life and let it be. That at the end of the day, you know you will lift your hand up high and say that I lived my life and I did so full and free. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Glegg, you never disappoint. Please come forward. Miss Cassandra Green will be presenting a very small token of our gratitude.
Dr. Glegg, GFOS, thank you for being here today. We have been blessed to have you reminding us that we can smile at the storm with Christ in the vessel, and also that we should remember to believe in ourselves and we are to finish that race. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. So we are on a high momentum. And I would like to recognize Pastor Richard Johns, who is with us. He's actually the pastor of this Church of Assemblies in Jamaica. He's to the back. Pastor Johns, you can wave your hand. So at this time, our item will be in the form of a video. Please watch.
peacefully. Today I am praying with God, not just for myself, but for the incredible network of other nurses across this beautiful island of Jamaica. As we participate in our annual general meeting for the year 2024, it is important that we take some time to reflect on the theme and examine the contributions that we have been making to our economy, Jamaica. Often, the economic impact of healthcare is measured in hospital costs and pharmaceutical advancements. But the truth is, a healthy society is a thriving society, and public health nurses are the unsung heroes driving that economic engine, and here is how. As public health nurses in Jamaica, we specialize in community health and play a critical role in promoting and protecting the health of the population. We work in various settings, including community health centers, schools, workplaces, and homes, focusing on disease prevention, health education, and the provision of essential health services. Our work is fundamental to achieving public health goals and improving health outcomes across the country. We play a pivotal role in contributing to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Public health nurses, we have significantly improved maternal and child health by providing prenatal, postnatal, and child health services. These efforts contribute to the Sustainable Development Goal number 3, good health and well-being, by reducing maternal and infant mortality rates. The maternal mortality ratio in Jamaica has improved, with a reduction to 80 deaths per 100,000 live births in the year 2017. Immunization coverage for children under 1 year exceeds 90%, thanks to the efforts of the public health nurses. The incidence of vaccine-preventable diseases has significantly declined. For instance, no cases of indigenous measles, rubella, or polio have been reported in the recent decades due to sustained immunization efforts. Smallpox was declared eradicated globally in 1980, and Jamaica, like other countries, played a role in this global effort by implementing widespread vaccination campaigns in the mid-20th century, and indeed, we have been integral in this. Polio was eradicated in Jamaica by 1982, and the last indigenous case of polio was reported in 1982 following extensive vaccination campaigns. Jamaica has also achieved the elimination of neonatal tetanus as a public health problem in the year 2011 through rigorous maternal immunization and, of course, improved delivery care practices. Immunization against diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus has led to a significant reduction in these diseases, and Jamaica has maintained high coverage rates for the DPT vaccine, with over 90% of our children vaccinated by their first birthday. The introduction of the HIV vaccine in the early 2000s led to a dramatic decrease in the HIV-related diseases such as meningitis and pneumonia among our children. The hepatitis B vaccine introduced in the National Immunization Schedule has significantly reduced the incidence of hepatitis B infections among our children. The HPV vaccine introduced to reduce the incidence of cervical cancer has been part of the National Immunization Program targeting school-age girls since 2017, which is also showing reduction with the virus. Approximately 25% of the Jamaican adults were hypertensive, about 12% had diabetes, according to a survey done in 2017. Public health nurses programs are crucial in managing these conditions. Efforts to combat non-communicable diseases through community-based programs focusing on lifestyle changes, early detection, and management of conditions like diabetes and hypertension are spearheaded by public health nurses. The HIV prevalence rate among adults is approximately 1.3%, with over 60% of our people living with HIV receiving antiretroviral therapy. Our work includes education, testing, treatment, and contact tracing, which is very much aligned with closing the gap to achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 3. We also have played a crucial role in the COVID-19 pandemic response, including vaccination campaigns and community education. Public health nurses have been involved in environmental health initiatives, addressing issues like water and sanitation, waste management, and vector control. These efforts contribute to Sustainable Development Goal number 6, clean water and sanitation, and Sustainable Development Goal number 3, good health and well-being. But our impact goes beyond statistics. We are the empathetic faces, offering guidance and support to families during their most vulnerable times. We are the educators, the advocates, and the champions for healthier communities. However, to continue driving the economic
Psalm 20. Maybe no.
Covenant keeping
Yeah,
God. You are covenant keeping God.
It's just the instructions. Yeah.
Covenant keeping God. You said in your word, Yahweh, covenant keeping God. You are the covenant keeping God. Yeah, you are. Covenant keeping God. Yahweh, Yahweh, covenant keeping God. Yahweh, Yahweh, covenant keeping God. There is no one higher. There is no one higher. No one great. No one like our God. There is none more able. Christ our Savior, great and glorious. There is no one higher. No one great. No one like our God. There is none more able. Christ our Savior, great and glorious. There is no one higher. No one great. No one like our God. There is none more able. Christ our Savior, great and glorious. There is no one higher. No one great. No one like our God. There is none more able. Christ our Savior, great and glorious. You are the covenant keeping God. You are the covenant keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. You are the covenant keeping God. You are the covenant keeping God. Yahweh, Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. You said in your word, Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. You are the covenant keeping God. Whatever it is that you're believing God for this morning, God will come through. His promises are yes and amen. He is a covenant keeping God. He will never fail. He will never leave you, because He is Yahweh, everlasting to everlasting. Our God through all ages, and He will do what He said He will do. Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. You are the covenant keeping God. You are covenant keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant keeping God.
Hallelujah. Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. Hallelujah. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. If He abide in me,
We worship you this morning, King of Kings. We lift our voice. of Lords. You are awesome in this place, God. 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 You alone are worthy this morning. You alone are worthy this morning. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord. We exalt your presence, oh God. We lift your name on high this morning, our Father. We declare that you are awesome in this place, mighty God. Every other name will fade away this morning, oh God. You have taken center stage in this house this morning. So we surrender our hearts and our minds to you this morning, King of Kings. We give you thanks for another Sunday morning in your house, oh God. We give you thanks for the privilege of life, the gift of life this morning. We thank you for sound minds, oh God. We thank you for ears.
All right, so we are going to resume. For persons who are outside, please return. I hope you got your legs circulating with blood by walking, stretching. We will resume at this time. So I'm going to, our second presenter is actually here with us. And at this time, I'll ask Latoya Anderson-Smith, one of our public health nurses from the St. Mary Health Department, to come and do the introductions.
Ladies. Okay. Born Donna Marie Clark in Egypt, St. Anne, Donna Bonaman is a self-determined individual, a graduate of St. Hilda's Diocesan High School, a mother of 3 children. She is privileged to be a Centurion ambassador, having attained nursing education and experience at the Kingston School of Nursing in general nursing and later in midwifery. Her career in nursing began at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital in 1986 as a staff nurse and acting ward sister. In 1995, she became the clinic administrator for the Beth Jacobs Family Planning Clinic at Farm Plan, Jamaica, facilitating group sessions, organizing workshops, and teaching inspired her to pursue nursing education. In 2003, she transitioned to nursing education as a part-time clinical instructor with Brownstone Community College. In 2005, she was offered the post of senior lecturer and was promoted 2 years later to campus coordinator and then to campus director in 2009. Donna Bonaman holds a Master of Science degree in nursing with a major in nursing administration and a minor in education, curriculum development, testing, and AMP measurement from the University of West Indies, Mona. In addition, she holds a doctorate in higher education and adult learning from Walden University. She believes that education is a critical factor in all aspects of life and that each of us has a unique role to play in improving the lives of others. It is through education that we are able to make the critical decisions that are needed for growth and development. Education offers us the skills to think critically, to question norms, and make positive changes in our communities. She believes that goals can be achieved through leadership, perseverance, and strong will. Her goals for the next 10 years are to develop world-class citizens by influencing policy decisions and regarding nursing education, increasing the capacity of faculty and students to do research, mobilizing communities to impact social changes in Jamaica, improving teaching learning environments, improving the quality of healthcare in the region. She is actively engaged in partnerships, quality assurance committees, research, in-service education, curriculum development, and professional learning groups. She is a member of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society of Nursing, Omega Kappa chapter. Ladies, please help me make welcome Dr. Donna Marie Bonaman.
Thank you so much. I feel very welcome. As a matter of fact, I recognize so many faces here. You know, we all belong together. Right, and so many beautiful faces. And it is my first time, you know, in a group with all public health nurses. You know, everybody in brown uniform except me and Miss Carmen L. Johnson over there. And there was Dr. Glegg here this morning. Okay, so my esteemed public health nurses, it is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today at this year's annual capacity building seminar. As a director of nursing education, I've had the privilege of witnessing the incredible dedication and skill that each of you bring to the field of public health nursing. May I say, and it is well known, you are the backbone of our healthcare system. And thank you so much for that presentation before the break. You work tirelessly to ensure the health and well-being of the communities you serve. However, today, I want to speak to you not only as practitioners, but as leaders, because the future of public health nursing in Jamaica depends on you. Let me begin with a story that I believe resonates with many of you. Imagine a public health nurse. Let's call her Nurse Laura. She works in one of our most underserved communities where access to healthcare is limited and the challenges of poverty, poor sanitation, and chronic illnesses are ever present. Nurse Laura, of course, is the first point of contact for many families in her community. She provides what? health education, conducts immunizations, address maternal and child health concerns, and so much more. But despite her hard work and deep commitment, Nurse Laura finds herself constantly navigating a complex web of directives, competing priorities, and unclear lines of responsibility. She's unsure who exactly is responsible for her performance evaluation. And more often than not, she feels her voice isn't fully heard in decision-making processes. She's caught between her desire to deliver the best care possible and the systemic challenges that seem to constrain her ability to make a difference. Does that sound familiar? No? Yes? I'm sure many of you, like Nurse Laura, have experienced similar challenges in your daily practice. The reality is that we cannot wait for change to happen from the outside. The change must come from within. It must come from each of you embracing your full potential. And I heard Dr. Glegg said, we must believe in ourselves. Are we ready? You must step into leadership roles, asserting your autonomy as public health nurses. Today, I'm calling on you to reflect on your professional journey and ask yourself, what role will I play in securing the future of public health nursing in Jamaica? Now, as a director of nursing education, my role is to support you. I see many of my graduates here. And I'm so proud. But more importantly, I want you to be empowered to become leaders in your own right. And I'm saying that, but we all know you're all leaders. Public health nurses are the leaders, and public health nurses are at every table. NAJ, advocacy, public health nurses are there. Ministry of Health, everywhere. At the region, in the parish, in the community, you are everywhere. The future, I'll say again, of public health nursing depends on your ability to step forward and take charge. Can we clap for change? Let us clap for change. Now, CLAP is an acronym that I'm using for change. Okay, C is clarify roles and responsibility. Let me hear you say, clarify roles and responsibilities. Lead with confidence. Embrace leadership opportunities. A, assert autonomy. Say it. Beautiful. And P, promote governance and support systems. You see, one of the key challenges you face is a lack of clarity around roles and responsibility. This is not just a matter of job descriptions. It's about understanding the true impact of your work. We know what we do, but we need to take the power. Public health nurses are leaders in health promotion, disease prevention, and community engagement. We must ensure that each of you has a clear understanding of your role, a defined scope of practice, and the support you need to thrive in that role. And you know, I actually wanted to get a copy of the organizational chart for public health nurses. I wasn't able to get it. Lead with confidence. Embrace leadership opportunities. We often hear that leadership is a skill. Scarman L. Johnson, I believe that leadership is also a mindset. You are not just caregivers, you are change makers. Whether it's leading a health promotion initiative in a community, mentoring a fellow nurse, or advocating for policy change at the national level, public health nurses must step into leadership roles. And as nurse educators, we are committed to providing you with the tools and professional development opportunities to build those leadership skills. 3, assert your autonomy. Is our autonomy in jeopardy? Autonomy is a cornerstone of effective practice. It is a cornerstone of our profession. As public health nurses, you must be empowered to make independent decisions based on your expertise. But that autonomy must be supported by clear policies, sound governance structures, and a strong sense of professional identity. It is time to challenge the status quo and ensure that your voices are heard when it comes to decision-making processes, whether it's about health policies or community interventions. And last, promote governance and systems of support. Effective governance is essential to ensuring that public health nurses can perform their roles effectively. Must work to address gaps in governance structures, whether it's around performance appraisals, leadership, or interprofessional collaboration. There must be clarity in who you report to. We know, but we see that there's some issue. Who evaluates your work and how your professional development is supported? Governance should empower you, not limit you. And we'll add, advocate for policy change. The future of public health nursing is deeply intertwined with the policies that govern our healthcare system. Public health nurses must be active advocates for policies that support community and improve access to care. By becoming involved in policy discussions and advocating for change, you can ensure that your voices are heard and that the policies reflect the needs of the population you serve. I know we're capable, and so I ask that you ensure that you work together to strengthen the foundation of our professions. You are the leaders. Clarify your roles, assert autonomy, step into leadership, and advocate for the change. Now I have a few slides. I'd ask you to complete a survey. I do leadership and management, and I enjoy research. Okay, so I wanted to get your opinions. Right, and so I'm going to share the results of the short survey that I did. Okay, so the first question was asked, what do you believe is the biggest challenge currently facing public health nurses? And you know what you said? No, it was only, it's 70 approximately 80 persons in the room. And I think the population is about 120 public health nurses. Huh? Oh, 186. Wow. All right, so as expected, when you do online survey, it's a small number of persons that respond. So we had 44 responses. Yeah, but what I noticed, the trend is that as people responded over time, this was sent out over the weekend and during the week. As people responded, I wasn't seeing any difference in the responses, So 52.3% of you said that unity of direction is a major challenge. And we're going to work on this in a few. Next slide, please. 63%
53.6% said that you feel that the current healthcare system in Jamaica allows public health nurses and enough autonomy to make independent decisions. Okay, so 63.6% said yes to some extent. You have autonomy to some extent. Next. The question was asked, how clear is the process of performance appraisals? Astonishingly, 56 or approximately 57% said the process is somewhat clear. That's not nice. Next. In your opinion, should public health nurses conform to a medical model of operation, or should their role remain independent and distinct from that of physicians? What did you say? What did you say? Okay, 93% of persons say you must have independent rule. We don't want no medical model. Nurses must manage nurses. Just like in education, nurses must educate nurses because we know what we're doing. Okay, and we have a structure. Okay, so we're not changing that, Miss L. Johnson. I talk to you now because I see you as the advocate. Yes, miss. All right, next slide. You have another one. Okay, hear this now. Would you be willing to take on a leadership role or contribute to policy making? My God, what are you saying? Maybe, public health nurses, you are leaders, you have to take it on, man. Okay? There is no future without you. Yeah, make the change. And finally, I have one last one. Okay, do you feel that there's adequate support for public health nurses to take on leadership roles? And 54% approximately says somewhat, but improvements are needed. So now, I'm going to ask you, time is going, yes, and I have group activity because you come here to work. I hear it's capacity building seminar, okay? So, work with me. We're going to have 4 groups of persons, 4 groups, yeah, 4 groups of 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? But some people need to move. All right, so I want in each group, we're going to have 10 persons talking at one time. I want 10 persons talking at one time, and you're going to be rotating through the groups. I'm going to give you the topics that you're going to be talking about. 5 persons are going to be observers. I want 1 person to summarize, 3 persons to take notes. Yeah? 1 person is going to present the findings of the discussions. Okay. We're going to spend 10 minutes in each group discussing what I'm asking you to do. Ready? Let's go. You know, ready for myself, where you can discuss. Yeah, I like this group over here. So you, yeah. So this is your topic. Right. So the core group here, so observer, no takeout. I have paper for you. I don't know, you're going to decide who is doing what. Hello. Look here, what time is it, please? I need a general timekeeper. 12:30, you'll be my timekeeper. So we're going to discuss for 40 minutes. 10? Yeah.
on paper. Can I pass it? All right, so get yourself in groups quickly, yeah? 10 persons will be talking, okay? 5 persons will be observing. Then I'm going to give you further instructions. 3 note takers, 1 is going to summarize, 1 is going to present. So assign roles and responsibilities. Minute of 40. Okay, how much time I have? Okay, 15 minutes. Good, good, good. So the first discussion is 5 minutes round table. 5 minutes. Okay, so we have to start now. Come. You know, form yourself in the group. I'm not see the group. All right, so the core here. Observers, note taker, get yourself in. Come. This is one group here. We have 10 persons discussing at first. Okay. Then we're having observers. The observers are going to join in the group discussion, and then I want you to go over to the next group. So it's 5 minutes of discussion, and then move to the next group. I gave you a topic? Come on, I gave her. Damn. Oh, this is it. Okay, so the assignment right now is to determine who is going to be the note takers. 3 persons. We don't have much time, you know. It's 2 minutes for this. All right. Could not talk. It looked like you are right. 3 writers. Come. Come, right. Right. Come. 1, 2, 3, writers. So the core discussion. Come on now, come down, come down. Okay. All right, let me find. All right. So you're not moving. You're summarizing. The note takers. Right, and then after 5, join in the discussion. Yes, you don't say the time almost finished. The discussion. Join the discussion. This is my cafe world, right? And so I want you to move around because I want you to generate ideas and hear from each other, okay? The only persons who are not moving are the note takers, the person who is summarizing, and the person who is presenting. After 5 minutes, and I hear that my time is already up. Okay, so, you don't understand? Okay, so who is going to summarize? Vanessa? Okay, beautiful. That's my girl, yes. All right, and we have the note taker, so Vanessa not moving. So let's start the discussion.
Public health nurses building autonomy.
Exactly.
Anything legal is going to be sexually and how we can say we did I can say that again without the time. So we are to switch from everybody was talking. Oh, okay. I have about 2 more minutes.
Okay. All right, it's time to switch or to move to another group. Okay? So remember, the persons who are taking notes are not moving. The person who is summarizing and presenting is not moving. Everybody else go to another group to join that discussion. Just move. Right. Okay. I don't know. I don't know, you'll do it. Yeah, they'll add to the discussion. All right, so it's just 3 minutes you have. Let's move. Let me see you move. I know I don't need to tell you. All right, you move, go over to the far left. Okay. Far left, come over this side, and the persons in the center change. Come, it can't take you one. No, switch between. Come, go over, far over yonder. Note taker stay, presenter and person who is summarizing stay. Nurse Green, your group need to move. Yeah, move with your group. Or tell them to move. Go over. Yes, you're to go over. The writers are not moving. The person who is summarizing, the presenter is not moving. Come, we're taking too much time. We only have 3 more minutes to discuss. Hey. Come, I'm doing research, you know. Come, let me see how public health nurses work. Come, you're taking notes. What about you? You're in the discussion. You're not moving? You just came over? All right, so what time? We have 2 more minutes for discussion now. Yeah, take a long time to move. Let's start the discussion. Who was summarizing? Yes, yeah, man. 2 minutes, so you just indicate what? So just tell them what you have and see if they have anything else to add. Okay, so the person, please sit down. Yeah, public health nurses work in dynamic environments. We have to embrace change, you know? So, you're working? We only have 3 more minutes. Where people then? One letter. Nobody came over? You're new, all new? All right, so we're going to end in 3, 2, 1. Okay? So presenters, 3, 2, 1. We're going to present the ideas. Okay, so please all sit down, relax, be quiet. Everybody sit down now, time. Yeah, you are just, oh, you're not hearing me? You're not hearing me? Yes. Okay, ladies, just sit where you are, please. Please, just sit where you are. Time is of essence.
Sit where you are. We're ready to present. We're ready to hear your ideas, how we're going to go about and securing the future of public health nursing in Jamaica. Ladies. Sorry. Nobody's hearing me on the microphone. Ladies, please sit. I know you had robust discussions. You have great ideas. Let us sit and we will now have presentation. I need something else. The mic not working. I need something else. Ladies, please sit. We are ready. Please sit. Okay, we're going to hear from each group now. Let's wrap up. We're summarizing. Okay, after 3. Okay, all right, who's ready? We start over there? Okay, beautiful. So all right, here is it. Group 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you're ready? All right, so we're starting at group 4. You may have the microphone.
Is it? It's afternoon or morning? Okay. Good afternoon, colleagues. Are you hearing me? Group 4, we got the topic, although it says group 1. Okay, it says group 1. Strategies for improving governance in public health nursing. What I've understood a lot is that when we came into public health nursing, when I came in 2001, nurses were in charge of nursing, but there was, based on the laws that were in the books from years gone by, doctors were really supposed to be in charge, but they had neglected their positions. And so, by my understanding, it has affected their salaries. It has affected their salaries significantly, which a lot of us did not know and we don't understand. So that they have come up with a plan to revert that, to get themselves back into the positions that they're supposed to be in, which a lot of us don't understand. And to do so, they have met. I have not been at the meetings, but it's based on divine. I'm getting all of these. They have met and they have come up with strategies, and a lot of attitudes they have changed to get us to come on their side. So we have a saying in Jamaica that you kiss us before you can kick it, and a lot of them are doing that as well. If you notice, you will also notice that. So because they need to get back a foothold on the governance that they had signed for, their 4 parents in medicine had signed for. So they have come up with the strategies to get themselves back in and in group. What I am proposing, what I've explained to my colleagues is that what we need to do is get an organogram that all of us agree on, if we can agree on it, and we vote on it and say, this is what we want, and this is how we want the nursing model to be. When we get this model, we're going to get legal guidance to get it passed. A policy will have to be passed. So we have to get legal guidance. This will take some time, ladies. But we have to start so that whenever we retire, we can say that we have started this when we see it come to. It's going to take some time. So because we need to have the RNS, the senior public health nurses report to the parish manager. We need to have the RNS report to the RD, yes, the RD, and we need to have the chief nursing officer report to the permanent secretary. Then we will have our own governance structure. Because if we don't, you need to understand, ladies, that we are all doing masters, right? We are heading there, we are all doing masters, and we are in the same class with the doctors, studying these courses. So whenever you are finished with these courses and then you have to let them do your PR, you cannot, your salary is going to be impacted. You cannot get more than them because they are your supervisors. So our salaries are going to eventually be impacted, whereas it's going to become stagnated until they are really above us, because it is said that no category of nurse must earn more than a doctor. So until we can understand this, ladies, and get it and share it among ourselves, and we have to buy into this change. We know that we love them, yes, but we have to love ourselves first. Okay? So some of us love them, that we want them to supervise. But we need to create a system where later when you retire, ladies, you can look back and say, yes, we have done something. Do we want to continue this way? It's not that you hate them, you know. There's no hatred. Mark you, there's no hatred. But everybody has to look out for themselves. And I've noticed since I come into public health nurses that nobody likes public health nurses. Even us don't like ourselves. We are our enemies. And I believe it's divine intervention that is going to save us. A lot of us have to go back to God. Some of us have to go into fasting and prayer for deliverance. Because I don't want to talk some things, you know. I don't want to talk some things, you know. But I'm going to take, you see, when I reach touch on the fasting and prayer, I could have talked some more things. But I'm not going to talk it. The Holy Spirit is right here now. A lot of us, we need, because the thing is that for our minds to be transformed, the enemy can work on our minds. And if your mind is not transformed, then you are underneath. The mind is powerful, and if the enemy can get to your minds to keep your minds down, then you're defeated as a group. So that's why I'm going to ask you, ladies, go into fasting and prayer. Right? Some of you can do it by yourselves, you can do it as a group. Right? For the change and the transformation, the mindset of people. Okay, sorry about that. Is there anybody who don't understand what I'm saying? Or does anybody want to say something else? Or somebody don't agree with what I'm saying? Because if our salaries are eventually impacted, where it's stagnated and not moving or it's going down, then nobody will be coming into public health nurses. And we are supposed to be the vanguards, not by mouth, but we are supposed to take up our rightful positions in society that our foreparents in public health nurses have fought for. We need to get back there. All right, ladies, have a blessed rest of the day.
Thank you so much thought-provoking ideas, information. Let us have next group. Yeah, it's 2 minutes. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so the topic that we had was building autonomy in a multidisciplinary team. All right, so first we said that we need to know who we are as a group. Who we are. Are we in charge? What are we? We're PHN, define our role, whatever, within ourselves, that is, because we know who we are. We were trained, right? And we're supposed to know and accepting, so with that know, we know and we accept our roles and our responsibilities. When we accept our roles and responsibilities, then we'll be able to do what we ought to do and stand, all right? Also,
we need a copy of our organizational charts because there are some places that don't have it, so we don't know our organizational chart will tell us and give us a structure as to how we go forward, what we do. All right, who we report to and so on. So we would have a clear line of communication and go through the chain of command. So it should be posted where persons are able to see it. Okay? Also, we should encourage our team members, because it's a multidisciplinary team. Our team members are encourage each other to share our challenges. And when we have our challenges, then we can talk about it and see how well we can help each other. Right? We can identify our special skill sets. What is it? Or we can help each other. Some persons have different skill sets in terms of persons can summarize, or persons can type well, do things well, so we can work with each other. Persons can do research well. Persons can speak well, right? So we can work with each other. Know where we are, where we want to go. Well, set goals, short, medium, and long term. All right, and we must have continuous training and also mentorship. Very, very important. Mentorship, where we always have somebody a go-to who knows, and they can mentor us. And because in everything we need a little encouragement, we need a little push. As Mr. Glegg said this morning, know the roles and functions of the other members on the team, right? Know the roles and responsibility and the functions of the other persons on the team. So then, when you have persons who are not trained giving an injection or doing a dressing, then you know that, okay, this is not, I'm just using an example, please. All right, then we know that, okay, this is not your role, this is not your responsibility. So you can say, all right? And you can say what it is. All right? And we have, just like now, we're having capacity building training, which is a part of the training that I spoke about. Accountability. All right? And we must, apart from added to accountability, we must be able to delegate. And as Dr. Glegg said this morning, the vicarious liability, knowing that we are responsible. At the end of the day, we are the one who are responsible for somebody else's mistake or error or things not done. And improve performance. Another thing we can do is to improve performance appraisal, and so we can know our strengths and weaknesses. Basically, that's it. Anything else to add?
Morning. Good afternoon. Our topic was improving performance evaluation for public health nurses. All right, our topic was improving performance evaluations for public health nurses. All right, so from our discussion, what we got, performance evaluation is a very important tool and assess overall performance of the staff. In how to improve improvement of the performance evaluation for public health nurses, they need to establish a clear function and role of the public health nurses. Also, there should be the specific duties of the public health nurses should be outlined, and also standardize the mechanism by which a performance appraisal are done. So it can be more user-friendly. So it should be, if it's electronically, that means persons need to be trained how to do the performance evaluation electronically. Or if it's, if you're going to use the paper, you need to be trained how to use it.
performance evaluation should be strictly be done on a professional level. So therefore, the person who is doing the performance evaluation should not be the friend of the person who they are doing the evaluation on, because this can sometimes, there could be some bias based on who is doing the performance evaluation. Because if the person that is doing my performance evaluation do not like me, then that person might just do the performance, give me a bad grade or ratings on my performance evaluation. Updated forms need to be used. So the performance evaluation, I think it's from 1974 or something, some years ago, and that is, so now there are improvements in terms of our roles and functions. Therefore, the performance evaluation needs to be updated, so therefore they can capture some of these roles and functions so that we can be evaluated properly. And also training of the team members of how to correctly do performance evaluation. Understanding that public health nurses normally do management course, and within the management course, I know when I did my management, we had done performance evaluation. However, to me, it was not explained thoroughly. So when I went out as a ward manager, I had to get some explanation in order for me to correctly do my staff performance evaluation. So therefore, I think that the person who is using these tools need to be trained properly, so therefore they can do the performance evaluation correctly. Thank you.
I heard that your performance evaluation is done by your supervisor. Okay, and those systems need to be strengthened. Yes, you're a group now. Come forward. It's 104.
Morning, everyone. Our topic is how, as public health nurses, we can enhance public health involvement in health policies. One of the things we can do, we, as public health nurses, must be willing to take part in decision making. We should build capacity to be able to add meaningful contribution. And when we speak of building capacity, we're talking about knowledge. You know, you go for your educational training, right? And that is where you gain your knowledge. Step up and take action. It does not make sense that you're taking a step up and you are not taking action at all. Unity will strengthen our voice. A house that is against itself cannot stand. United we stand, divided we will fall. Maintain our autonomy. As a group, we need a sense of purpose and direction. Understand the leadership role and take on mentorship of the younger ones. Right, seniors? Right. Nursing representation should be on different boards, which I'm speaking of, basically public health nursing should be on different boards. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Do we need to say anything more? Okay, so let's clap for change again. What are we clapping for? Clear roles and responsibility, asserting your autonomy. Oh, L. We can't spell, you know, clap. What do they lead with? Confidence. Assert autonomy and promote governance and support systems. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Bonaman. Was that an inspiration? I surely felt it. And at this time, Dr. Bonaman, can you come forward? A token will be presented to you by Miss Kadian Wilson.
Good day, everyone. Dr. Bonaman, on behalf of the Public Health Nurses Special Interest Group, on behalf of the Public Health Nursing Special Interest Group, I would like to thank you for your inspiring presentation, reminding us that as public health nurses, we must clap for change. Clarify roles and responsibilities, lead with confidence, assert our autonomy, and promote governance and support system. We as public health nurses are not just caregivers, but we are change makers, right, everybody? All right. We are the future of nursing and will make a change. We appreciate the activity also. It got us thinking on ways we can better govern our profession and maintain our autonomy. So, Doctor, I want to thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Ladies, our third presenter is actually here. And lunch is actually here too. So, let us vote this. Can we move to the third presentation, then have lunch? Because the aim is for you to leave here by 3. That wouldn't be great, and I don't want people heading out, before 3 o'clock. We have a package here for you today. We haven't even reached prizes and surprises. Yes, we're giving away some things today. It's Black Friday. So, for persons who really need to eat because of underlying, you can go to the area, to the back. All right, so I want to welcome back. There are some persons who have not been with us for a while. And one of them is actually here today. And indeed, it really is a blessing. So I want you to give Verna notice. I saw her around there and I look very young. A round of applause. Verna, show your face. She is here with us today. And by the blessings of God, she looking well. Not true, people? All right. So, what's the decision? We're moving forward. All right. So at this time, we'll have introductions for our third presenter. And this will be done by the person. Mrs. Gillian Dharma, Bailey Dharma. So Nurse Dorma is from the Portland Health Department.
Good afternoon, colleagues. It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce to you Miss Carmen Johnson. Miss Johnson is a trailblazer in the nursing and midwifery fraternity. She is a mentor, a leader, advocate, among many other attributes. Her contributions were renowned as the past president of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, where she served exemplarily for 3 years. She is currently the Director of Nursing Services at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital in St. Anne. Last year, she was conferred with the Order of Distinction by the Governor General of Jamaica. Isn't that honorable? Okay. She is also a Justice of the Peace and has leadership positions in community-based organizations, including her church. Today, she will be guiding us through report writing in nursing and midwifery practice. Please help me welcome Miss Carmen Johnson, OD, JP. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Dorma. Good afternoon, colleagues. I was just trying to run to find the Carmen Johnson to keep up with her. But I'm happy to be in your presence today. It's a pleasure. And I thank you for the invitation. And when I was asked to speak and report, I said, but public health people, them report all the while. What is it that I can tell the public health people them? Because they are report personified, don't it? And you have been giving your all to the people of Jamaica. And whether or not you know it, you impact the tourism ministry, the industry ministry, the technology ministry. Just think, if you weren't here doing what you're doing, would our health status be what it is? And would anybody want to come to Jamaica to vacate and to spend money? Think about it. No. But it's how we put ourselves out, and I was very happy to be in on Dr. Bonaman's presentation and to be listening to you. So I want to thank you for your services that you give, sometimes without any recognition, and sometimes when you do the work, they push at the back and stand at the front and shake the hand. But sometimes, what we have to see ourselves as servant leaders. But while we are servant leaders, it means we must still stand up because God stood up for himself as well. Right, colleagues? So I was happy to be here for that presentation because listening to the research, the poll that was done, and recognizing that nobody now want to be leader in public health. How come? So it tells you that there's an underlying challenge that demotivates and de-energizes, and this may come to talk about, but it's going to fit in. That demotivates and de-energizes our upcoming public health nurses. And some of us who are also looking to go out and should be at leadership levels before we go. And so those of us who are as old as I am, it simply means we need to stand up and be a part of the change. We need to start the change with us, each individual. And so when I heard Dr. Bonaman says, do we need to say anything else or what are we going to do? My response was, go do what you have just written on paper. Take it out of the assemblies of God and go into public spaces and public health and do what you have just written and presented that you will do. And the Holy Spirit witness against you that you said that's what needs to happen. And so go out and do likewise. It took only Rosa Parks to sit in the bus and decide she wasn't going to move. For people like you and I, when we go to the United States, England, or anywhere else that we can sit in a bus. It took Martin Luther King to stand up and say, I have a dream. And he stood up for his dream. What's your dream for public health nursing? How do you bring that dream alive? so that yourselves and your other colleagues to come, and some of my nurses will want to go into public health, will recognize that public health is worthy of my presence and my leadership. And so it fits in. I'm going to tell you it fits in. So today I'll be looking at reporting in nursing and midwifery practice. So reporting is important, and you all know the importance of reporting. And as we go through the couple slides, I'll just be reminding you as to what is report, the purpose of report, the types of report, and the importance of such reports in nursing and midwifery. So a report is a practical document that describes or details or analyzes a situation so that the reader can make decision or take specific action. Or it's an oral or a written exchange, so it can be in any format. So like in secondary care, every morning we give an oral report. Every evening we give an oral report. Every night we give an oral report. But at the same time, we have our 24-hour report and we have our daily report as well. That we report to the Ministry of Health, we report to NERA, and report to the CEO and others so they can know what's happening. So you have different types of report. You have product report, business report, lab report, technical report, case study report, and research report. One of the research reports was presented here. But for us, our technical report is what we will look at. Technical report from public health is important. So a report is a formally structured document. It's like a dissertation, so it's focused on the reader's need. So first of all, we must think, who are we going to be giving that report to? What information need is it meeting? What is the information requirement of the receiver of the report that you are presenting? And it also includes recommendations for action. And it may use tables, graphs, etc. Because you have been doing that. But what recommendations have we been making when we present our report? Have we been making recommendations, colleagues? All right, so we're going to make more recommendations. So the purposes of the report can be explained. For information, you're explaining a situation or you're trying to persuade somebody to do something. And I want to use Dr. Bonaman's research report to persuade you to find at least 30 of you who mean well for public health and start the call. Start the change. Let the change begin with you. So I'm persuading you and I'm asking you for you to have the change and for you to want yourselves and others to become leaders in public health. Start the change. It begins with you. You don't have to look at anybody else. Look within yourself, and once you start the change, others will come along. The association will have no choice but to join with you, and the ministry will have no choice but to listen to you. So the structure of the report may contain many or all of the following. You acknowledge those who gave contributions. Despite you are not acknowledged when you give report, acknowledge those who help you to conclude your report. So your juniors for the seniors will give you the information. They are running the clinics, they give you the information. Acknowledge them when they are doing it. An executive summary that basically summarizes and states what the report is about, what challenges you are trying to address in that report, what are your findings and how you'll be moving forward with it. And then you'll have the content page that tells you which page you find what on, and then you'll have the main body. And in the main body, those things on the blue, those are some of the things, are all of the things that will be in your report. And don't forget that you have to have your bibliography and your appendices. Your bibliography, remember, let us not be found wanting that we plagiarize. So the key characteristics of a report, it must perform a function clarified at the outset. It must provide information in a logical, well-signpost order. So it must be sequentially ordered. And it must present ideas and information, whether written or visual, as clearly as possible. So don't tell us that you're writing, maybe you say you had 20 GEs, but you just put GE 20. It's not giving enough information. Where were the most of those GEs detected? What was done for those GE patients? Were any admitted? Is it that it's located in one school or one community? So it gives information for you to be able to work with. Use critically analyze evidence to support, as I've just said, your conclusions, and offer clear recommendations as requested. Be accurately referenced, because again, AI will further push us into more plagiarism if we are not careful. So what's the relevance of reporting? And maybe I choose the wrong thing. It provides evidence of performance outputs for professional category of employees. So like for you, you get up every day and you go out there in primary care. It provides information as to what you're doing. But is it that you're just doing it for doing sake and reporting for reporting sake without any end to the means for your means, or is it just for SLA means? It gives information to employees and it's available for internal use by managers and other departments or stakeholders, and it provides feedback to employees and are useful for their self-improvement. So when you do your report on a monthly basis, do you just only present it to those who are up, or do you go back and you discuss the findings in your district meetings, in your parish meetings with your other colleagues, so they can understand what the findings were, what is it that you're analyzing, what is it that you're seeing? Because sometimes though we may see some things, another person looking at it, analyze it from a different perspective and give you a different view. Is it that what you're seeing is pointing to a new disease that can beat COVID that is coming? And so you want to say to others in the other parish, hey, look out for this. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a cluster of this. It may come to your parish, but have your eyes open for what I'm seeing. Skip that one. Okay. So why should you report? Let me ask first, who do you normally report on a monthly basis? What reports you send out on a monthly basis? MCSR. So you do your monthly statistical reporting summary. And in essence, your monthly statistical reporting summary goes to your parish manager, goes to your medical officer of health, and then it goes to the region, RTD, lie or true? Through or lie? Through. Right. So it goes to them, and then they decide what is it that they do with the reports that you have presented. Coming back to that one. It's also, no man, where you going? It's also a basis for planning, for progress, for implementation. You can move along. All right, so I'm going to stop here. So you just answer me your purpose for your reporting in public health. So it's basically reporting for other individuals to report. Lie or true? Good. All right, so we'll pass this slide. So your purpose of reporting in nursing and midwifery, it increases operational efficiency. So where you're out there, does your report contain the information to say you have one public health nurse or two public health nurses to 10,000 of the population? Does your report contain that? Does your report says that for this month when one public health nurse was on leave, it is one public health nurse to 30,000 of the populace? No. All right. It improves teamwork and understanding of challenges. So when you report, or when you put your report together, it should be discussed amongst you so each other can understand the challenges that you're having and look at the solutions and the strategies moving forward. But how do we in public health and nursing and midwifery, when we do a report, how do we report up into nursing to ensure that nursing understands what is happening and that public health nursing is represented in those conversations? It is a part of performance accountability. And in looking at performance accountability, for you to know what is it that you want each individual to be reporting on as a senior public health nurse or as a regional nursing supervisor, you need to know from the outset, before you start your reporting, you need to start developing your work plans. And if you start developing your work plans, it is nurses who are developing nurses' work plans, lie or through. Huh? So remember, the government have already said that those who are not using PMAS and work plan will be disengaged. You won't get your increments. And so PMAS and work plan from 2007 is what the government brought in for the public sector to improve customer service, customer relations, to create a greater satisfaction and recognition for the employees within the public sector. And so we should be doing up our work plans. And if you're doing up your work plans for your subordinates, There's no question as to who supervises who and who will be evaluating who. Let her through. So if you allow somebody else to do up your work plan for you and give you a work plan to say this is what the public health nurses should be working with, you may end up with a generic work plan that determines that all public health nurses should follow this work plan. But what the government says is that it is individualized work plan. So your work plan cannot be her work plan. Because where you are at and the things that you are competent in, she may not be competent in it. Thompson just coming in, work plan can look at Bennett Rose's work plan. Because Bennett Rose has a number of years experience in public health. Thompson is just coming in, so she's a novice in public health. So her work plan should be different. And so when you're looking at performance accountability, it is how you ensure that that accountability responsibility is built into the work plan. So when January, February come for PMAS to be done and your evaluation to be concluded, then all the individuals know what they were working towards. And when you get the reports on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, you know whether or not your colleague is meeting what is required of, we don't know him in here, of her in carrying out her duty. And so we must start in reporting with our work plans. Everybody know what their work plans are, what is expected of them, and what they should be reporting on. It informs decision-making, strategic planning, and resource allocation. So where you are seeing that some things are happening in one district, no doubt when you report up that the parish manager, the medical officer of health, the RTD or the RD may decide, guess what? Let's look at the budget because we may not have to shift a couple millions of dollars to address the problem that is in that area of work. This facility keeps saying we have no vital signs monitor, we have no RBG monitor to monitor, we have no BMI machine that you want us to use. So the decision that it gives is that you have not been reporting on those targets because you do not have the resources. When it is consistent and they recognize that you are making the recommendation, you're analyzing and you're saying what is happening, then resources now will be shifted from somewhere else to come to you to provide those vital machines that you need to perform. It is proactive problem solving and early detection and resolutions of issues. So one of the challenges, you all know the issue, you report, but you don't do nothing for public health nursing. How do we use our report now to solve some of our issues, to be proactive in asking for what we want and what we do? Next slide. So it presents the result of population health monitoring to a specific target audience. Here in your target audience is the RTD, the RD, medical officer of health, and the parish manager. It creates knowledge and awareness, and it targets the strategic and tactical level of policy by addressing important public health concerns, problems, and health determinants. So we report at the tactical level, that's at the regional level, but are we reporting up to the strategic level? Do you present a weekly or a monthly report to the chief nursing and midwifery officer, where your problems are now being seen at the strategic level and it's being built into it? Are you doing that presently? Sending report to the chief nursing officer every week or every month? You send it? What is it that you send to say? What's in the monthly report? All right, I know that one. I send up that one too. I know that one. But if you really look at the monthly report, it doesn't speak to your work burden out in public health. It doesn't speak to what you're doing and how short your staff is. So unlike, next slide. The kid, you have to pay attention to me now. So it advertises activities or create support for activities. It supports priority setting and assess needs for an identified field of action. And it's useful for healthcare coordination and management, and it creates pressure for policy change, either from above or from bottom up. So how do you now use your reports that you give to the others to create that pressure from above and below to get to where public health nursing wants to go? Next slide. So the purpose essential communication tool, your medical reports are foundational tool for communicating in healthcare, ensure a clear and consistent relay of patient-related information across the different service levels. Legal and operational, reports are legally binding documents essential for compliance, medical research, and litigation processes. So at number 2 about operational and legal. When you send your report up, and you says that I have only one public health nurse to 20,000 of the populace, and hence you weren't able to meet a certain target because this is what is happening. When something happens, and then the blame wants to rest at your feet, you can always say, but remember in my report, this is what I did say on such a month or such a week. And so we must know how we are reporting and what we are reporting, and the benefits of the report to the receiver as well as to the sender. So is the frequency of your report daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually? I want to believe, based on what you're saying, it's monthly and quarterly, right? Or you do it daily? Daily? Who you send it to daily? At the end of the clinic, who you send it to? Who you send it to? Nobody yet, all right. Who you say send it to? You collect it and you be put on to add up as the week goes by. All right. Next slide. So features of a good report: it is complete, written in sequential order, it's understandable, must be delivered timely, and it must be free from jargons that the others don't understand. So the timely part of it, you're having an issue out there, but the report goes in monthly. So the help come in after, or they are saying, you didn't tell me before, and now this is what the populace is saying. Next slide. So reporting in nursing and midwifery, and I'm going to spend just maybe 3 minutes on this. So in secondary health care, as I said, every morning we send a report to the chief nursing officer. So they understand secondary care work burden. They know how many patients are in the hospital, how many patients are on each ward, how many staff we have in the hospital, and what's our nurse to patient ratio for the hospital on a daily basis. They know when we are having a challenge, and they see that the nurse to patient ratio gone up now to 1 to 15, 1 to 20, or that the patient count now gone from 200 to 265, that there's a shift in what is happening. And so it means it has greater demand on the nursing personnel that we have and on the institution. NAJ had a document that is known as Blueprint for Progress. And that was one of the documents that our foremothers used to bring about the 4 R's that they wanted in nursing. Registration, remuneration, what the other 2 are? Reciprocity was the other one. Recognition. So you now need to make sure that you are using your blueprint for progress for your recognition. You are not doing it for remuneration. And somebody stood up and says, because it hits others where it hurts, because the monies that they would get, they don't get it unless they can show that they control the masses. So it does affect your remuneration as well as to how you perform. No, man, go back to my slide. How you perform as well. And so it is, how do you now use your report to be a part of, back to the previous slide, please, to be a part of your blueprint for progress. How do you now decide on a reporting format that you will present, back to the previous slide, that you will present on a weekly basis or on a daily basis for them to understand what is happening and for them to understand that you have assertive autonomy, as Dr. Bonaman says. How do you now send your work burden up to ministry and say to chief nurse, we too need to be represented at the table on a weekly basis and on a monthly basis based on what we are doing. So if you look at it, you present your report on a monthly basis, but what information is in your report? What information is it given to the receiver? What is your intended purpose from that report that you submit? Are you getting the results from the report that you submit that you want? And so the report must be accurate, but it must also serve a purpose both for the sender and the receiver. How is it analyzed? And so you must not look at your issues live. What are your issues? Is it that when you only, because when you only report, to those who you say you send your report to, it's only for them to report and to look big and feel big, layer through. So you don't have no bigness and you don't have no lookness in it. Because you just send it and you stop it there. So. But it doesn't come to say the public health nurses says, or the public health nurses want, or the public health nurses are saying reallocate, or this is the burden that the public health nurses are carrying. So how do you as a body now come together and decide and say, we are going to look at a report format that speaks to our work burden on a weekly basis, speak to our population to nurse ratio on a weekly basis, speak to the challenges that we are having on a weekly basis, and speak to the recommendations that we have on a weekly basis, and you send it up to your chief nurse. You get what I'm saying? So secondary care, every week and every month, our issues are being attended to, and our issues are looked at. And because I get miserable sometimes, and I say to them, I have my post numbers that I can't find. I want back my post numbers are near, and I listen to me. And I need them because I need to reduce it from 1 to 16 down to 1 to 10. And I need more nurse to get it down to 1 to 8. Tell them, say, send my post number, come. You get your post number, me get it back. Because the calls go out. But you don't send nothing up. You send anything up? You said to them, say, look out here, so tree in a St. Mary. And we have to go into the office, do office work. We have to go do the clinic. And we have to go do investigation and surveillance. Have you been doing that? No. So it's how do you as a body now come together and decide secondary care have a mouth at region and ministry? Every month they hear them and every week they hear them. How do you now get them to understand that my work output still matters? But it also matters to speak to the challenges that we're having. And so you must not look at a report, how you put it together, what information you want to communicate to the reader, what recommendations you are giving to the reader, and what output you want from that report. Because your voice stop a regional, your voice stop at the health department, because you give it and you walk away and you're gone. And I present it and I go on quarterly and I don't hear they say, come with me one public health nurse, help me to tell them what is it that we are saying in this report and what is happening in the parish or the district. You get what I'm saying, colleagues? So it's how do we look at reporting in nursing and midwifery? And so your report becomes a means to an end, but not the means to enhance public health nursing, not the means to ensure that your younger colleagues, for those of us who are older, and don't go away go say me say I'm old. Me know me old. But I'm saying those who have age in nursing, how do you not get your colleagues to have faith in public health and want to be a leader? So the report does only 30% or 10% want to be leader, but 80% say no, I'm not going to public health leadership. You understand me, colleagues? How do you get your issues live and make it a means of getting what you want, but not a means to an end for meeting the SLA targets? How do you represent the SLA target in each individual's work plan so that when they are evaluated, you can say out of my 10 nurses in my parish, 8 have met the targets that were set for them? How do we pull from the SLA the areas that are for nursing? Because when I look at the SLA, enough of them are enough for nursing, so I don't pay no mind. Customer service, yes, part of that for nursing, because we talk to the patients every day, and we interface with them and the relatives. So I pick out the part from that, and I put it on the work plan, and say what I need. But some of them are not for me. And some of them look me say that a primary care, I don't do them things up here, I not reduce, NCD, nothing. But then my part of it that I put in is to ensure that you're educating the patients before they leave, so they can self-manage their condition to reduce readmission. And so that's one of their work plan targets. That at least 80% or 70% of the patient must be educated and documented in their nurse's notes. So when I'm reporting, I can report that we did how many education through the in-service education or through the ward. How many things did my IPC nurse did for the month? And so we have to look at it to be the means for what we want. So again, we must look at it. I found these 10 laws of good reporting. The reporting produce a report for your readers. 2, Keep the report as short as possible. So don't develop a reporting tool that is long and then chief nurse and deputy chief nurse say, me not get from it what they want me to get. Are it too long for me to go through it for all of the parishes? Guys, 12 parish, right? No, not 12. 14. 14 parish. So no never listen to me, you know. See me tell no 12 and they just shake on the head. It's 14. Organize information for the convenience of the writer. So how are you going to structure that report now and organize information? So when chief nurse and deputy look at it, and going to CMO, and going to talk to the ministers and all the other people up there, and they say, look at it. For a population of 30,000, is only 2 public health nurses. Covering surveillance, investigation, midwifery challenges, covering the clinics, doing immunization. The work burden heavy. 1. It's only 1. So how do you represent that? So when we go to quarterly meeting and they say this SLA target never meet because we are falling by 5%. Nobody stand up and say, remember, it's 1 to 30,000. They're saying we'll have to talk to them and see how much of those who are lost to immunization they can go out and find. And then they say, okay, let us beef up the community health aid. So they become the hand and feet of the public health nurses since they don't have enough public health nurses. Make them go do public health nurses work. How do you say to them within the next year, we must get at least 50 more persons in public health nursing to reduce the ratio of 1 public health nurse to 30,000. So we must ensure that we are doing that. Include accurate references, and your references are really what you are going through on the outside versus what you see in other jurisdictions. For another jurisdiction, they have 5 public health nurses, 30,000. But for ours, we have only 1. And our work scope is broader than elsewhere. Ensure your writing is accurate, concise, and straightforward. So not go on the corner, because some of us can talk. Some of us very wordy. Go to the point. Hit the point and go for it so they have no whole sentence to read to get to what you want to tell them. You understand what I'm saying? So you give your little preamble at the top. This is the St. Anne, and a division, what you call it again? The parish. Parish of St. Anne that has 6 districts and a population of 148,000 persons. 1 public health nurse serves 20,000 of our population, and you're done. Nobody going there talks, and this is what happened, this is what don't happen, this is what, and this is how it was structured, and it's 3 parishes in Nera, and we are one of the parishes, the larger parish. We know it's not a larger parish. We know it's not a St. Anne, just talk about St. Anne problem. Check the report for technical errors, typing errors, and inconsistency. Consider design as well as content, and produce a report for your readers. And so this came from the Institution of Engineering and Technology. So make your report specific. Make your issues live. Report what you want to report. And you have the autonomy to say to chief nurse, you have not been getting a report from primary health care on a monthly basis, a technical report. And we know that secondary care reports on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. I really believe you want to know what your nurses in primary health care are doing so that you can accurately represent the conditions and the concerns of your public health nurses. And you send it up and you say, can you peruse this template that we have done and tell me if there's anything else you'd want to see in it? Not sending us say, tell me, modify it if you want to. No, ask, is there anything else you'd want to see on this template? Chief nurse send back and say, take out this, but put in this. You take it out and you put it in. You send it and you send, but you realize you're not answering something. You send back to chief nurse and you say, oh, I think this information can give you information to inform A, B, C, D. And you get to put back in the chief nurse, understand, say, no, part of the thing that this can inform is this we want it to inform. You understand, colleagues? So we have to ensure that we are reporting, and that we are not just reporting for reporting's sake, and we are not just reporting to say the parish is meeting the SLA target, but in meeting the SLA target, how does that recognize you? How does that appreciate your concerns or your challenges going forward? So remember, the report is something that speaks to another individual, to tell them what is it that you want. What are your challenges? What are your recommendations? Your report must be concise. It must meet the information need of your readers. And it must meet a certain need for you as well. And you can report up and you can report down. So remember, when you get all of the statistics that you collect every week, don't just report it up, but report back down to your subordinates so they can understand what is a bigger picture that you see in your district, what is a bigger picture that you see in the parish, so they understand when you say to them, go out there, so go look at that Upper Mount Pleasant and see what is happening, because you're reporting down, so they too understand what is happening and what was analyzed. Next slide. Thank you. Next slide. Next one. Thank you very much. I hope it had some meaning to you. So I'm hoping that you get something from report presentation. And I hope it will spur you to start the change. Be the Rosa Park. Nobody else is going to come in and do it for public health nursing. Find the energy within you. Find the vibes amongst you. And find the motivation within your fibers to let your profession be elevated. Say hashtag public health nursing. And make public health nursing hashtag out there. All right, colleagues? Anyone question before I hand over back the mic? Yes, ma'am. Sure, not a challenge. So the kid can take it off the laptop. Any other one? Thank you very much for having me. Do enjoy the rest of your meeting and safe journey back home.
All right, can you please wait? Can you give her another round of applause? So, you know, we love her dearly. Can I tell you? And one of the things with her, she little but she talawa. You understand what I'm saying? And I hope. I hope it rub off, you know. We are receiving it in the name of Jesus. Oh, yes. So, of course, those words were powerful. Keep the inspiration, ladies. Now, Mrs. Nicola Brooks is going to present a little token of our gratitude to you, madam.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ms. Carmen Johnson, on the behalf of the Public Health Special Interest Group, we want to thank you for that very inspiring educational session on reports writing. So we are reminded that our reports are to be clear and concise. Whatever we report must speak to our output, and it must inform our public health nursing practice. It's not a means to an end. It must guide the way forward for our nursing practice. So from now on, I'm sure we will work on our reporting and ensure that we will, whatever we report, can go to the table so that we'll be part of our policy development and the change that is to come forward when it comes to our public health nursing discipline. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Now, we are at 1:50. Based on our agenda, it wasn't waved by a wand. We actually have a report. The Public Health Nurses Administrative Report, which I want to take a few minutes to go through because I want to ride the waves. A report that exemplifies your work and speaks to the outputs that is specific to your scope of responsibility. I heard somebody talking about the MCSI report. That is not our report. Based on the job description of the health records officer, it is their report. Right? You do your tallies of your specialized area of maternal and child health. Bam, that's it. Because you want your work to come out, right? The information from it to come out. But I'm not going to go down that road because we have said it already. I can make clearance for the Northeast region. Our last memo went through some months back that our nurses will no longer be doing the collation of the MCSR, and it went to the parish managers with timeline when we would stop, and it's effective now. So, our focus, there are some little taboos going around. The taboos are reports that are generated because everybody is seeking us to lean on. Lean on. You know that song? Lean on me. Lean on me. When you're not strong, I'll be your. Pause. Everybody are lean for honor. Why them leaning for honor? Who produce their reports for them? You never know that. You never know. Everybody leaning on honor. You know what? No friend for the people report for them get more money than you. Are true? Are true? How do other people report? So, ladies, we are coming to the end of a year. And one of the things that we have to do is that we have to change towards the promotion of the discipline, right? So right now, you don't need on the shoulders like this. When you're in nursing, who went to KSN? We'd have house mothers who tell us how to, how to walk and hold your shoulders straight. You don't want nobody else to lean on the shoulder. Huh? A lean. The parasitic effect. Because they want uno for the report them for the produce here. Uno have to stop. And so for most of around 6 months in last year, the RNSs embarked on a journey to come up with such a report that speaks to what we do. Please don't get distracted. And so the Public Health Nurses Administrative Report came about. We started implementation of it because this report is to be done at all the levels, right? And strange enough, we have people who are not complying because why? The lean on me effect? It's on them. So at the end of the day, which report not being done? The one that should go to the other level public health nurse at the district. Then you have the level 3 public health nurse at the parish. Then you have the regional nurse who is the level 4 public health nurse. And that report should be going to the office of the chief nurse. And let me tell you, I have seen the communications coming. They're not seeing nothing for owners. That's the truth. And so, today we are going to start afresh. Right? Because the new year is going to see us. Is going to see us. Thank you very much. Stronger. And embracing our scope of work and reporting accordingly. So I'm going to share with you the report. It's in an Excel document. That should be done. It can be done daily. And certainly it has to be done every week at all the levels. So you see that pretty thing up there? Do you see it? I'll speak to it. So at the top you have the parish. At the top, you have the parish, you have the health area, you have the date of submission, and the person would have submitted it. Across, you have the population of the health area, number of communities, number of schools, number of nursing homes. We all know that we should be in the nursing homes, right? All those areas must be outlined. Now, this first Excel sheet down here, so you see down here, this is called service delivery. You see this here? It's service delivery. So, in primary care, I know that our DNS here would have spoken to the hospital reporting, which is based on patient care. Aren't we providing patient care in primary care? Certainly. We are providing preventive health services, yes? And so, we have here our clinic sessions over here. And for the different clinic types, we have a summary being created of the number that are scheduled. So if it is on a weekly basis, it's going to be done in tandem with that. Or if you do it on a daily basis, then you'll do it accordingly. Then you have number of them that would have been held, number of them cancelled. This is actually rescheduled and held. That should be there. There's a little part underneath. It needs to wrap. So it was a rescheduled held clinic. That's the other one. And then you have number of clients that you would see. All right? Now moving from there, you have the average number of clients per session. Now, you see, once you populate all over on the left that we're coming from, we have formulas in there. So you don't touch that part. It's going to automatically put in the average number of clients per session here. Now, these are the categories of staff. You know what the DPHN is? The district level public health nurse. All of the persons who are at operations are over here. We have the PHN. We do have sisters, ward manager. For us, we have our community hospitals in the Northeast, and we have 2 of those posts here. So if you see it there, it's not weird, all right? So that is for that individual. We have the registered nurse, midwife, and the other categories. If you put in the staff, you're gonna have the ratios populated over here by formula. So you're gonna see the work levels computed for each category. We on the same page? So you wanna touch there. So from the staff going and the clinic session numbers, you're gonna see, like you see the 20 there, we did just pop 120 there, for example. You're gonna see it pop up. You understand? That's not the real figure. So that's for clinic sessions and the ratios per staffing levels. Now, over here, we all know that when it comes on to the expanded program and immunization, we would have been the vanguards. True? True? All right. So we own that area. And it's critical because when it comes on to vaccine preventable diseases, this is the program that actually prevents, mitigate that from occurring in our population. And so for this section, it speaks to our interventions that we would carry out relating to that area. And then you would look at outstanding numbers. Those who don't come, they stop routine service provision, right? And then you have it by age category. We know the 0 to 11 months, critical for all of those 0 to 11 months antigens. And then you have the 12 to 23 months, who we know is the MMR antigen. Let me try to put up back. You see it? First and the second dose MMR antigens, as well as for the booster, the first boosters for the polio DPT. As it relates to those that are reached over 24, because some of the times, some of the times they have this thing where they just disappear. They gone to another parish, the migratory, you know how them stay. So we are capturing those, right? If we miss them, we're gonna report on them. And if they have gone via unfortunate demise, right, or they are lost to follow, we are gonna account for them, right? And then, of course, the dropouts, we are going to put them there because we now have to design the targeted approach to reach them, right? So we have to know how much we want to reach on a given day within a given time period, right? And so this is what will be captured there. Now, for service delivery, below that, we have investigations. Now, we all know that the CHAJD is being expanded, and it seems like there's a plan for them to take over here without the knowledge. So we need to be reporting on those very important infectious or public health events of significance in this area. So what you're going to be putting is the type, what is it, what type of condition, and if you have completed it on time and those that are due, it's your workload levels. When you do so, when your senior public health nurse gets this, and she should be monitoring already, she should have a system to be monitoring this. Remember that the hospital aspect where the detection is done, we would be having that information coming in and reported to the National Surveillance Unit on a weekly basis from the health department. So there has to be a system for a senior public health nurse to be monitoring. This is the nurse going out there doing it. Yes? So she should know, but you account for what you are doing at your level. Now moving on, when it comes on to the aspect of the school immunization services, it's a major thrust for us. You see the points I'm putting out here, we don't need to be run down in anybody and them program. Leave them to manage them program. See what area of focus here? Yes? So for the school health, one of the things that I noticed when we were drafting our plan is that within several of the Caribbean countries, they actually have a school health coordinator where that person just focus on this. We know the school numbers, the whole heap of school of all the levels. It's huge numbers till we don't even have the capacity to go in there. One of the things we ensure we do, this is where we use some supports here with our lower level staff to have our verification done, which you are responsible for. Because based on the gaps in verification, you are going to do your targeted what? Intervention. You understand me here? So, you need to keep track of this. Because at any given time, if you have 150 schools, you must know how much of them verified already. And that's how it goes. You are the leaders out there, Do you understand me? It's your work, your core work, right? And so, you are required now to populate this area. Now, we have another section, staffing. Now, the office of the chief nurse, as she come up with a part here, and we have it there. you must report on your staffing levels, right? Because the overall thrust of this is that once the report is completed at the levels, from the highest level within the region, it's going to the office of the chief nurse, right? And they need to have information on what you are doing, which we understand, right, by the presentation. And so you have your staffing levels. Those who are on training, we account for them here, and the type of training. And of course, this is in line. You must have your little succession plan. But fundamentally, you must have your staffing levels outlined, which will be coming out still based on service delivery. Another area is quality assurance. And when it comes on to quality assurance, the Public Health Act specifies that is also much people at chat. What's happening here? The Public Health Act have the tourist establishment regulation, which specifies that every 100 room or more facility must have a registered nurse at the command health post. Now, what has been happening is that the compliance assessment for the command post of our tourist establishment rests with who? Who does it rest with? Who it rests with? Who does it rest with? Uno don't know. I said it's a registered nurse. It's supposed to be there. Who it rests with? The public health. My goodness, sister, look good. Whose responsibility? Who does it rest with? The tourist establishment compliance monitoring in tandem with the public health. Oh, no, never understand the question. So a registered nurse is at the health command post. What does she do? She creates a log of guests and staff of all symptoms of ill health that is reported, right? This is the basis by which the tourist report comes to the health department on a monthly basis. You are aware of this, yes? One of the challenges exists, you see, well, for us in the Northeast, we on it like white on rice. I don't know about the Southeast because what has been happening, you have environmental health officers going in. Them deal with environment, you know. Remember, we train together in a sense in some areas. Is the environment, is their focus? They shouldn't even be looking at the RN notes. Right? Unless it's when outbreak and they're trying to specify certain and not jointly going together. The point is that's an underserved area by you. You don't need to go out there. This is where institutional health comes in with you. And it's an area that is underserved. Do you understand me here? So you need to report on it and it's gonna be captured here. Right? Now when you go out there, we have a compliance checklist for that. Who see the compliance checklist for the tourist establishment? Put up your hand, let me see. Designed by a nurse and used by a nurse. You don't never see it yet? The tourist compliance checklist. Those in the Northeast, put on your hand. Do you know the tourist compliance checklist? You know it? So all of these going back out, people. Now this is one of the challenges that we have. You know, when we have meetings, some people stay and go to work with Lean and me. And then when you go back now as a change agent, we still challenge. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, with regards to that, that's an area that you need to go into is you have the knowledge to do it. No other category of public health worker have the knowledge. And the person who is at the health command post is a registered nurse. You hear? You understand? You liars, they're supposed to even have your number too. The health and safety officer now who liaise with public health inspectors for the environment part. Do you get it now? All right, so you have that there. Another area that is underserved is the school nurse medical posts. Now, we were provided the RNSs with the documentation. I don't know this already. The public health nurse must be involved in the performance management of the school nurse. We had it, we got it from the office of the chief nurse to go in, because they are like sentinel sites really. All who are ill come to the nurse in the school. So you must have your schools with the nurses, so you know you have to go in, and you supposed to do the little capacity building and collaborate when it comes on to the school health program, right? So we need you to capture the information and the compliance assessment of the medical post in the schools. Are we on the same page here? You see, you don't have enough work, you don't have no time to do no report for nobody, fix up the SLA indicator output for nobody who don't want to do their work. You hear? Because at the end of the day, our work is not being captured and reported. Are you understanding? We're moving on now. Another sore area is the nursing homes. Gentle people, who you think it rests with? Who you think what take place in a nursing home and a patient care? And the nursing home not supposed to have a registered nurse. When they come for the certificate for start operations, you know, who then call for do the groundwork assessment? Who then call? Then who then call? So when you done the groundwork assessment, why you think so you not going to drop off this and no bother no more if you go see what is happening? Are the public health regulation being upheld? You need to go in there to see what is happening with those persons that are now under the care of the home. This is where it's gonna be captured. We on the same page here. So at any given point, you must know what is happening, right? Now, we do have some places of entertainment that exist, and those, I think in St. Mary we did have the water park, because places of entertainment know that they must have a little health post, and that health post must be manned by a registered nurse based on the Public Health Act. So in those situations, you have to keep your eyes and ears out, and you know, just like boys' home, children's home, you don't know where all of them is, because it is your business to know. And then you do your monitoring and you plan your interventions, sure? So you're going to indicate that in here, that is under the quality assurance sheet. The other thing that is important is audits. If you're going to do audits, and we want audits of our practice, we do have an instrument, right? You take the applicable part for nursing and midwifery. If you do audits, you're going to indicate it here, right? And you put within the remarks anything of significance. Maybe the audit proved that the capacity for human resources is terrible. You put it there, make the chief nurse know when she gets it. Are you understanding? And then supervisory visits. Sore area. I remember before NFPB locked down shop July of this year. NFPB did the, you know, the CLMIS assessment of the contraceptive, logistics. All right. One of the things that they found is that the supervisors are not supervising out there. People now go out there. We know we have the attrition, you know, and the staffing is thin, but guess what? one of the things that is critical is supervision of your junior team members. You see those rounds, one of the things that I respect for the secondary care system. And I know DNS will echo. Every shift, you have the supervisors going out there. What them going out there to do? What them going out there to do? Huh? What do they go out there to do? Eh? To walk and exercise? No! They are supervising, doing their administrative rounds. And one of the things that is not happening very well in primary care, I know the staffing, but hold on. Hello, why so much people attack? And not true, me attack. Me talking foolishness. The supervision of our younger members. Look at them, see how them attire. Look in there is actually a template for this, Remember last year we did the review of the checklist? You're supposed to be going out there, so when you do it, because this is how mentorship gonna happen, you're going to document it on your report, your administrative rounds. Are we on the same page? And then, all right, so the next thing now, for quality assurance, is performance management. Now, we know we have some issues, Right? You know the issue, right? I'm not going down the road there today. Because we know what is what. Right now, PERs are being held back, but you don't have to press on and hold strong for those who are conforming. But you must put your PER status there. And then the last area is capacity building. You must do capacity building. You have nurses meetings. The amount of opportunities, health district meetings. And you have the discipline specific, right? The fundamental thing about it is you need to capture the information. Work that is not documented is work that is not. And I'm going to leave you there with that. This report is going to be circulated. What I am suggesting to you, you see all of those who have the lean on me, you don't have to go straighten up on the shoulders. Right? And you don't have to report with nursing and midwifery practice. You can report with a legal framework. You're going to report and we're going to do it fresh. ASAP, we're going to do it. So the new year is supposed to see we're running. Because guess what is happening, people, soon? Reclassification. You see any reclass ever come and uno did they have the lean on me? Dog, I go eat all our supper. Can I tell you enough for your supper, The whole away. Do you understand? Because every discipline must have a performance report for their output. And let me big up my younger nurses in the room today. My young nurse, my young PHNs. Stand up and let us see you. Give them a round of applause. Blessings on your journey, and I hope it will be fulfilling. Right? And so we have to continue to press on in that regard. It is my intention for us to wrap up and go, but one of the things that I want is for you to feel empowered leaving here today. If one thing not happen today, this have to happen. Right? Empowerment. You must be positive and embrace you. You're special. No other category of staff has your skill set and training. You hear? You never know that. You must proud of yourself. Big up on the chest. You hear? That's why people are lean. I don't know. All right, so we want to have some prizes and surprises for persons who have lunch. We are going to do the lunch last because I want you to go. The road is busy today. I know the road is busy. And I thank you all for making the sacrifice to come today. But of course, we wanted to give away some prizes. So the first question goes to the individual who can speak to, for our first presenter, the individual who can speak to the 5 skills for achieving success. All right? We take out the prize, Lord Smith. Can we take out the prize? We have a prize here for the lucky person. All right, who coming? See one of our juniors. Come, darling.
All right, the first thing you need a plan. You have to make sure you have the tool you need for that plan. Have a desire to succeed. Must have a belief system. And must believe in yourself.
What has a learning has taken place? Come for your goodie. We can get one picture, gee whiz. Look here, we capture the moment now. Take one picture now, somebody. All right. So the next question is gonna go at this point for a second presenter. Now, she had 4 groups today, and I want somebody to come and speak off the clap. Come forward, anybody run first. Hold on. Here, hold on. Remember the clap? You remember the clap? Hold on. Why me say this, Sprucey? Trust me, then understand. All right.
Good afternoon. I'm Ramota John from Sarah, right? The first thing is that you have to clarify roles and responsibility. Live with confidence. Accept your autonomy. Promote governance and support system. And she finally added 1 A letter that says advocate for your public health change.
Let me tell you, I am so impressed. No, honestly, I never expect her to give me. I'm gonna ask The question is, you know what I'm going to ask the question about? At least 3 importance of reporting that gonna represent your discipline of nursing and midwifery. It was said, how much you gave about 10, right? 10, and I said 3. Come because, hold on, everybody look like, any runners to the front? 3, just 3 of the 10. Hold on. What is happening here? 3 of the 10. But nurse, that represents your discipline. Wanna come, man, wanna come. So hold on. So hold on. All right. Miss Carmen, could you please listen to her? You're going to determine who should get it. This is our first attempt.
Afternoon. So she said that in reporting, it should be relevant, as it should give information that is useful for management. It should be concise, and it should also have purpose, so we can have enhanced communication, make decision, and performance accountability.
Any other takers? Will it come with, we have another one. What you said, Carmen? All right, we have another, you're coming, Wilson? The importance of reporting to represent your discipline work.
For one, it helps to resolve issues. It allows you to plan and to implement strategies to better or to improve on situations.
I want you to have no more, a 3, you know. All right, we can't. Come. This is Miss Terrian. Come, Terrian. We want to resonate. You see, when I'm not driving home today, I remember, you know. Come, Terrian. Right? Yes, purpose.
Okay, so the purposes of reporting. It must be informative to define or establish a current situation. It must be explanatory, and it must be persuasive. Those are the 3 purposes, according to the slide.
All right. Who should get it? Come, Miss. She, come. Alrighty. Now, we will be having lunch now. But of course, we would have completed the agenda successfully. And I promise you're leaving here at 3 o'clock, you know. So you will be able to go. What time is it now? All right, 2:33. So we finish in time, right? So you can have your lunch. The dining is around the back. All righty? We have it on the agenda. Roll call is based on the signing we have. All right. If we weren't gonna go into the meeting format today, we wanted to just have. All right, do have your lunch, and thank you so much. Oh yes. All right. Huh? It is a busy day today. Oh, we have some tickets on sale. I'm going to have Constance.
I need 4 persons to buy my last 4 tickets, please. Only $200. All right, ladies, yes, I know it's... Ladies, I know it's lunchtime. Are you hearing me? I want to tell you that I see persons who are interested. Please let me know. Thank you.